2.5, gotcha. All right, we are live, recording, online, sharing, good to go.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back.
Good morning.
All right, so today we are going to do a deep dive into the plan as we discussed. So we have a methodology that we've agreed on that we think will help us to take a look at the plan in depth and probably most importantly establish some priorities. We have talked about priorities. We have a lot of items on the plan, and Chelsea just updated it yesterday, so this is the latest, greatest plan. So we have a system we're going to work through to try to establish some priorities. And before I jump to doing that activity, I just wanted to stop for a minute to talk about yesterday a little bit and just kind of recap. Because even though we had a lot of discussion around issues, I do think we left with agreement that our mission and our vision are solid. And we worked with those. They're on the wall. They're awesome. We all work for the same vision and mission. And we looked at our success statement and our core areas and made no changes. So the work we did last year is solid. As we work today, we'll see how they fit actually into trying to do this action plan. And just a reminder that the strategic action plan is not a 5-year plan. It's not something you put on a shelf that looks good. It's an everyday living, breathing document that becomes a task list of sorts because it identifies for you those core areas that you have and then lists under the tasks that need to be accomplished to get the work done of the Gateway Services Community Development District. I just wanted to stop and talk to you and ask you, what do you think were the big moments yesterday? Is there anything that you're taking away or anything you want to go back over before we dive into the plan B?
Well, I'd like to add one little thing. Yes, we did everything that you said, but we also said we were only going to look for 1 year.
That's what we agreed to.
For 1 year.
Absolutely.
And not try and do 3 and 5 year plans and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's important to keep that in mind too.
Good clarification.
Looking at 1 year.
Yes, we did say that. And that was kind of a big moment because that really does focus us. You know, the thing is though, the year rolls on, right? So I mean, we can't just say, oh, this plan ends in 1 year from today because it's gonna keep rolling year by year, right? So that's the only thing, you know, that's maybe a little bit of a misnomer with that. We're gonna look 1 year out, but then tomorrow we're gonna look another year out, and then the next day is another year out. You know, I mean, the year keeps moving, right? We all understand that. Right? Okay. What else? Ed, big moment from yesterday?
I'm sorry?
Any big moments from yesterday? Any clarification, anything you want to talk about from yesterday?
Some of this stuff I think we're diving way too deep. We're going into the 1A details. I just don't understand it.
That's what we're going to talk about today. But Ed,
I'd much rather hit and concentrate on the big ticket items like we were doing yesterday, going into the details. For example, developing what was it? Program water yoga, give me a break.
but that is one of the things that we need to do for that core area. You know, this is Chelsea's task list.
That to me is a staff issue, not a board supervisor issue.
But this is not just a board plan, right? Or, I mean, is that how you
That's
would?
what we're doing this for.
I would say it's both. The quality of life and direction and services and programs. You know, we have PrAC, we have staff. It comes up, I mean, it goes both directions.
What I'm saying is there's major topics. are
And
correct.
that's board,
But then going down into the details and like that,
that's
I
staff.
mean,
See how it's both? The core areas, that's the board. That's what you're charged with. Those are our core areas of operation. When it comes down to the step-by-step detail of how to do it, that's the staff. But as the board, you want to know what's happening in those core areas. You want to know what's being done to accomplish those core areas, which feed back into our success statement, which feed back into our vision and mission. So it all fits together to be one complete product. Make sense?
Makes sense, just a lot of detail, but
It is a
I
lot of
don't
detail.
think that, I'm not that interested in it, to tell you the truth. It's
That's
not a big
okay.
ticket item.
That's okay,
The
because
big
that's
items
my
on the
job.
utilities, now it's a different story.
So water yoga is low on Ed's priority list, okay.
No, not low.
Not even
Not
on by
existent.
it. It's not even on by it.
Do what?
It's not even on by those.
One thing though, as the board, you need all the information that you can get at any point in time. And you need to be aware of this document and, you know, however often you guys decide to review it, this is here for you and you all need to be in on it.
Well,
So,
and I'll use the farmer's market as a perfect example. You know, the farmer's market didn't come from the board. That came from staff and the Parks and Rec Committee. Now it's an added benefit to the community. So this is a living document of things that I would say that we're working on, or things that, you know, we're trying to accomplish. And that's the point of reviewing it quarterly is, you know, is this what we need to be focusing our efforts on right now?
But using that as an example, it happened without us. It's a great thing. Why do we need to review it? Unless they're selling Nazi propaganda or something like that.
because number 4 in our success statement says, we are respected and trusted for transparency, communication, and responsiveness. And this
And we're letting
document
that group-
provides transparency, communication.
And we're letting the group do it. That's what they're supposed to do. We create the environment where they can come up with positive things.
So you
to
don't
benefit the
even want to
community.
know what they're doing?
Well, we know because we see it. I don't need to be involved in the city. To
Details.
Ed's point, I bet.
Well, the only thing I want to see, or a reason to see it, is that if we're wasting, if we're having issues with time management, to be able to do all the work. I can go through there with an X real quick and chop out a lot of this stuff. What are we doing it for?
And-
We
and
got higher priorities, much higher priorities.
So our objectives today,
That's all right.
our objectives today, one of the things that we said we wanted to do was to establish priorities, to make sure that we were on the same page with that. So our objectives today are going to be to give you an opportunity to look at this. And we're gonna divide into 2 groups and have you do it 2 at a time. And when you look at these items, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, your mission's gonna be to put them in priority order. Because what we want to see is, are we all on the same page with our priorities? So it'll give you an opportunity to actually look at it deep and to help Chelsea to establish priorities the way you want them, because you do care about priorities, right?
Well, but if it's a crack priority, okay, if they've decided that's something, I don't feel like it's my priority. I support them, let's do something, but I don't need to know what they're doing later.
Okay, so I think I have an idea for this. So this can be the staff's working document, because we need the details of how, you know, to make things happen in the time with staff, et cetera. But if you recall on our agenda management in each meeting, we have a second tab with all of the dates and times of the board meetings, and then our third tab is just the 30,000 foot overview initiatives, and they're ranked every single board meeting. So maybe we build this into like just an overview for the board, and we keep our living, breathing, working document behind the scenes.
Yeah, I can just hide some of the columns.
Yeah,
Well, if I hear that we have a staff issue, let's say Parks and Rec, we had an issue, not enough people to do the work, then it's when I come into this and say, what are we doing this for? What are we doing this for? What are the things that's causing us to not get more higher priority items done if we're spending time doing some of this?
Yeah.
So that's the first issue, is do we have the people to do everything on here? If we do, that's great. If we don't, then some of this stuff's gonna have to take a back seat,
Or we had staff.
or we add staff.
Well, are you willing today to go through the activity of helping to prioritize to see if we're all on the same page with that?
That's fine. I
It's
think-
hard to be against that. That sounds good. But what's the value at the end of the day?
The value is Chelsea knows what's important.
The group themselves, be it BRAC or anywhere, they're gonna set their own priorities based on what they can do.
And the other thing is you're able to talk intelligently to your constituents to let them know what's happening and what these folks are
But
doing.
Lauren, we always have that availability, we can go to the meeting. All the meetings are open. If you're really interested, go to the meeting.
That's our problem. They don't come to our meetings.
Well, but you don't go to theirs either.
Yes.
I don't.
Well, let's at
It's
least,
motherhood, I'm not against it, I don't
Yeah.
want to be negative.
Yeah.
I just, we can talk about this for 1 hour, or 5 hours, it's not gonna change a lot, it's not gonna add value to Bob.
I think it's worth going through just the process, and, it may come out that water yoga is the least of everybody's priorities, and maybe that's a FY26 initiative.
I think part of what this does too is this gives you guys, like you said, you don't want to get into the minutia. This gives you an idea, I mean, high level, we're working on Parks and Rec stuff. This is all the things going on behind the scenes that you guys aren't involved with because you're not in the day-to-day operations. So this helps Chelsea and the rest of the staff figure out what we should focus on first.
Yeah,
So we have a lot of stuff going on that you guys probably don't know about because we don't review this on more than once a quarter.
Well, like I said earlier, is if we are not getting higher priority items done, then this allows us to say, okay, now what are we wasting our time
The
on? Which are
minutia,
these
yeah.
low priority items?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but in the same breath, it's also telling us what y'all's priorities are.
Right.
We don't know what your priorities are. We think we know.
We do our best.
Is it,
We're
but does that
unclear.
align,
We're
right?
unclear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Really? Okay. Fair
Okay.
enough.
Well, Bob's preference versus Ed's preference versus Carol's preference
versus Flavia's
Versus-
versus Doug's.
versus the combined collective direction are all different directions, and we're trying to get it documented so that we can at least understand what the priorities really are as you see them.
Well, the things, there's such a big difference here, disparity. Admin issues are driven by something that we have to do. Utility issues, public works issues are driven by things that we have to do. Some of these things are elective as hell, especially on the park and rec and all those. You don't have to do these things. We don't have to do these.
Parks and Recs is the easiest thing for me to deconflict because it's all like to have,
Yeah.
not to have to have. Mine is just facility maintenance and upkeep and running. You know,
I haven't seen a line at the door of people lining up with ideas of what they want us to do at Parks and Rec. It just ain't there. But if their sewer doesn't flow, they'll be at the door.
You trim their trees, and they don't like it, you'll hear about
Yeah.
it.
Well, let's try, let's give it a try.
Could we maybe go to the 3 main goals that we identified yesterday? Which was the
The admin
metering,
thing.
the administrative building and the,
Assessment methodology. That's mine.
okay.
Well, actually, I'm involved in all of them,
And
but
can we
yeah.
just go to those sections in here and prioritize those?
Are they contained in one
No.
core?
Not really.
See, the thing is, they go through a lot of the different core areas. Like, that can affect quality of life, and it can affect community improvements and maintenance,
Some of the stuff hadn't been,
and
because
financial viability.
it was new, Georgia just stuck them at the end under new initiatives. Some of the things that you guys added on that she couldn't find on here, so they haven't been prioritized under a
I think
different
it's,
core
I
area.
think it's worth going through the exercise just so you guys can see the details, and then we can jump to the three main ones, because,
Okay, that is a good idea we do want to relate it back. And what will be interesting to see is if the way you prioritize them fits with your 3 goals.
Yeah,
So let's just try it, all right? So here's what we're gonna do, we're gonna put a board member with a staff person. And we're gonna do 2 at a time. So we're gonna do 1 and 2, we're gonna stop, pause, and see how we compare. Then we'll do 3 and 4, we'll switch up with staff members, switch up the pairs, and then we'll do 5 and 6. So we'll do 2 at a time.
no. So we have one more staff person. He's online, and Flavia is en route back from Miami, so she won't be here in attendance.
Okay, so what you're gonna do is you look at quality of life there. Services and programs, there are 8 things listed. Your mission is to prioritize them 1 through 8. Parks and Rec, there's 4 things there. Prioritize them 1 through 4. And then what we wanna do is compare to see how close we are all in our thinking.
So the numbering on these mean nothing.
No,
These are not priority. We wanna make it priority order, and we want you to help us do that.
So is there a column that is missing?
No, you can just write it in the side, because we didn't put another column on there for that.
Okay, this one here has.
yeah, that's a work in progress. So
mean,
just,
but this one has a space.
yes,
So-
I know.
Do they match?
So what we're planning on doing is taking what you have here and putting it in that format that you see. Laura took a stab at it yesterday afternoon.
I copied and pasted all of this information into that new format, but I also added a whole bunch of columns to it, so.
But if we're gonna have a
It doesn't
priorities, to me, we need a column.
Right, and I'll add that
Establish a
in.
priority.
I'll add that in, but we didn't,
Just do it under, where, see where it says services and programs, just do it in that, under
Just do it.
that.
there's a blank space, just write it in your the first column on your sheet, right next to the number.
Oh,
You can write it, just write it in here.
Yeah,
I guess they're here.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like this one's completed.
1, 2, and
So
8
you
are
can
done
just
on
do your
the first
numbers
one.
here.
Okay, so this is gonna be where you're
So
gonna put
you do it.
one through 4.
Yeah, 1 through 4, 1 through how many there are.
1, 2, and 8
So
are already
we're talking
done.
about
This
like
is
A
our
services
vision
and
of the
programs, and they want
priority
these ranked?
of these items.
Yes,
So
yes.
this
Is
one
there a
through
five?
eight, we'll do our own one
One
through
through
eight.
seven.
Is there a 5?
And this
None of the
one-
above.
It's okay, I'm used to it.
Well,
Well,
you
1,
can
2, and 8 are already done.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you're doing 1 and 2.
This,
Two core
that are already
areas.
done. They are. So we actually only have 5 to do in this part.
Okay.
Still on.
Okay, so we've already done this. We've already done this.
I've got to put it really like.
These five, there's 5 things left.
Let's make a 1 through 3.
1, 2, 3, 4,
I
and
guess
5.
what we're doing
Yeah,
is
'cause the
one-
automatic
so
will
What,
live until
let's
five.
do one high.
Where do you see?
Yes,
this?
one's high,
One
one is high.
One is first, yeah, highest, 1 to 5, 1 to whatever, 1 is highest.
Okay.
Well,
I didn't want to do it all, have 4 is
So,
the
where do
highest.
you-
would that be built off?
That would be
Okay.
nice.
I guess we can go down through.
I know.
Yeah. That they want.
Establish parking.
Yeah, most of the stuff's.
I-
I'll go with that.
I don't know, I wanna.
Survey
I have
first
my own.
and then put together an annual schedule.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
if you just put out an annual schedule.
Well,
I'm not
you have
involved in any of
events,
these
For
things,
this,
so.
it
You
was
have
the
events that
Establish
go
Parks
with
Federation annual events.
Okay.
That is
So
a priority.
probably,
We gotta do
like,
that.
number
We need to do
2 should be
We've been
one,
doing it.
Correct.
We're on year
and
2.
number 1
So
should
when I would
be.
get down to
Patience.
program water.
Patience.
Feel
Feel free to grab some.
I don't know, I guess I would think for me, and then you guys start like building
Okay,
relationships
so-
with the community.
So,
And
we're
why
gonna
you
put
don't
one out here
want
for establish park and recreation, because you've got to do that. One of the annual cases. In fact, it's probably ongoing,
Share,
as
I'm done.
things
See it.
happen. change. Surveys of the community, I think that's another thing we do is
Mhm. I understand,
develop programs for.
but I guess you.
I know that.
What?
Are we rating
And then
3
we're
or are we
supposed to do
rating
Parks and
3?
Rec, is that next then?
40% of the.
Yeah.
Three is the overarching, and then
Yeah.
how we do
Well, I mean,
that,
that's
how we do
what
that,
policies,
which is
laws, and regulations.
one of the ways to do it.
Creative
Both of
dog
those.
park, it's really
Doug
good.
was a peacemaker, generally speaking.
Creative community.
He's not here.
Hey, Chelsea,
Yes,
Parks
yes,
as,
yes.
as we're going through this exercise, should we not also, instead of just stack ranking, what if that item is no longer a top priority, or if there's other items we would like to add?
Then it would shift lower on your priority list.
And then 2 and 3.
Or you can add, I mean, you choose to add, which we'll talk collectively as a group.
Oh,
Yeah, but I think that's important because these were done over a year ago, and some of these priorities may have shifted
okay.
significantly, or even fallen off.
I didn't have any traffic there at all.
Not a heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's because they're going to school here.
I think that really comes up into this number 1, that
So quality of life.
Quality of life and
2, you gotta do number 1, the first 2.
Community improvements and maintenance.
Yep.
One,
Yep.
okay,
community trainings,
soccer complex.
Do you guys have this stuff in your community?
programs.
yes, we've already established it. It's just-
Let's have you one,
Coordinate
two,
it up there.
How we do it.
Soccer fields.
You can't have all 5s. You have to do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
Maintenance is more
I don't know
important
what's
than the
going on, I know it's
soccer
going under
field.
your head, but I don't know.
But I know we make money on the soccer.
We gotta rack it together.
We need to do
So
that.
give me your target, then I'll eat it.
This one's
Create a
hard.
dog park agility course.
These are both hard for me.
I'm fine, I'm trying to get rid of the dog altogether if you let me.
Well, I think 1 is 1.
We got both of them here.
community
And I
garden.
think-
This is something that was legacy before I ever.
Soccer field, health.
Yeah, but you gotta look
Right.
at what the
That's
seniors
right.
and the rest of the way.
Yeah,
That's the thing, or-
I would, yeah, I kind of
Because
feel like that.
that's how you go to the
would-
people in your
that would
community
be a
are
part
like,
of the soccer place, like, because
It's
this
kind of like,
was
look at it,
like
because you have a good
facade,
example of a
the-
country
gonna
where
be
you
money.
we don't really have much over here.
So
this
6 is
for
for
anybody,
you.
so how do you think that would
And
be?
then
This is
2, 3, 4,
Being if you're
5,
like-
6,
Myself.
For
The new building.
building down there.
I thought we already had parking on that.
It is.
Because
Well,
it's up- I mean,
I
it's
really
up
where
to
would
the
you
portion
put stuff
include
down?
all the
I would
different
rent
things,
these
the
as
fence
well,
being
just
repaired,
see what
the
people
lights
buy.
being done.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's
So
the
this is
right part
probably
of
a bigger one
is
for
that
you.
parking for the building or is that parking
These
for
are
the
all
park?
very much dead.
That was
The
the
park,
This
that
one's
hasn't got anything to do with the building, it's just the location.
That was the one with the scope break that
Pickleball.
little by little. got
Repair the
further
cedar
apart.
fences, what's the right square feet
Yeah, we got
fences.
one. What one would you do?
I thought you
What's
were
that?
Just the
You
perimeter.
can
The
choose-
perimeter,
Well,
what's the
I
issue
don't know,
on
that's
that?
what I'm asking.
Oh,
What would you do
oh,
now?
oh,
So
yeah.
you've got
But I mean, it's
UTV,
chain link.
police,
It's actually already been fixed.
Special events.
Well, we had shut down at COVID, so
to-
it's not a high priority to me because it's already
And
done.
you-
The only thing I'm waiting on is the dumpster.
Splash pad.
Now we're rolling.
Okay, so could be
There, all right, that's
And
all right.
new 3 to 8 inch fencing.
complete sign standardization, what's
Which
that?
I think that.
Over the years, somebody's ordered a sign, another sign from a different company.
Yeah.
They're all
So, I mean,
This one's
you talking about street?
for the park.
So-
This is for just
So number 5 is
Sorry.
actually number 1.
I don't even know what kind of sign is it.
I would
Just
think
the-
the safety would be.
Um,
any of the GSCDD warning logos, after
Oh,
hours.
okay. Oh,
It's just
Dealing with places.
standardizing the signs across the board. They're always worn.
No.
And I've already started doing some.
Okay, so that, to me, that would be what?
You know, 1, 3, and 4.
No,
I
I'd
don't
give you,
care.
probably should.
Three,
It's not that way. I mean, the signs exist, they just,
upgrade lights.
Oh, I
to
thought.
brothers.
Now, that's a high one.
But
That
to me
you're
because
supposed to be
there's safety
yesterday,
concerns
and
out
they're
there.
like,
It's cold.
so.
Uh,
But yeah, I'm
I
not
mean,
having.
that's something that's
We were talking
existing.
yesterday, because I thought the lights was an issue there, and you're, last I
The-
recall,
the-
this was a couple of years ago, we were looking at $1.5 million.
To me, that.
It's not gonna be
You
cheap.
guys on the.
Yeah.
This is on hold.
That's talking.
No,
She's
yeah,
got
we.
lots.
Oh.
And you got number 2.
Well, 1 through 4, 1 through 6.
50% of people don't live
And it just keeps going.
Finish paving.
So I think that's a
I don't know if
priority.
this will be last.
Create a plan to tie
Addressing,
into
we
contracts.
gotta do
Agreed.
something with it, not necessarily.
Well, next to that one.
Yeah.
Give it to the
Oh,
county.
Yeah.
okay, so
See
we'll
if
And
the
then
county
that
will
one.
take soccer
I think
field
this is
sign.
actually.
And add benches.
Same
I don't
thing.
think it
Both of those
last.
items.
So
We
These
need to
two.
number
These things
4
and
and
get
my
them
number
done,
1.
or we're gonna get rid of them, but you can't do it half-assed. It's gotta be
And
addressed.
then number.
There's
And
irrigation,
then
the drainage,
Well, no, we.
and then going back out, resodding, sloping.
So it's not even in like the road park and stuff.
Has anybody even looked
Paving
at
of
We
the
don't have
the
rules and
two
regulations for it.
synthetic turf?
So that
Yeah.
doesn't.
And-
and the
uh,
upkeep of turf.
What are we at, Millennium Park?
Yeah.
That is, it is.
No, we haven't
Granted,
connected it all the way up.
I can see
Oh,
with
turf
adults
soccer.
on
I think we
fields like
should need
football
those.
players of that, but kids,
But that's a
That's
big
all fair.
money.
The wear and
So
tear on
That's a
it.
big dollar.
Oh.
And this one-
last time I used to put in that expensive.
So I think what this is talking about is on the northern end.
Need this to carry.
The asphalt doesn't go all the way out on the
Yeah.
Playground.
Oh, and it's a
It
big.
just stops up
They're
there.
doing this right
There's
now.
a section
All
there
this
where,
square down to is.
yeah, there's
those
asphalt
bits
for
for
so
them.
long, and then it just.
Create
goes
shade
into, like,
structure.
That
rock.
one's already complete, honestly, so that's like a 5 to me, this is done.
Do you want it to go?
I think that's just for how to take care of those, like.
Well, build a splash pad,
You should
like-
use and you can make
Yep, that's
that.
That was
what
where we were talking about
we
with, adding on to
we don't have to.
I'm not going on the
Irrigation
FPL
and
that unless
Get
there's
something I
Come up with a plan.
I don't know.
Is the
Shoot
planning
up
line?
in the
Either
needs
cost
to
came
go
in
back
so
to
high,
that?
or it wasn't attractive.
I've been there.
Resurfacing the
Okay.
deck.
Then there, got it.
Oh, AstroTurf, yeah.
Put your feet on the ground,
Yeah.
put your handlebars on your bike, it shocks you.
That's
They've
really,
slapped
really
paint on it so
expensive.
many
Yeah.
times, we're actually
Under the-
starting to do it, we're
Yeah.
gonna
Is it concrete?
I don't
Oh,
think,
yeah.
Um,
I don't think that the
Stamped
fall
concrete.
should
Huh?
occur under
Yeah.
It's
that.
actually stamped on.
Okay.
So it needs to be replaced.
Okay, number 2, community
You got two
improvements
ones.
and maintenance,
How you gonna have 2 ones?
landscape, develop a new master.
How you gonna have 2
irrigation
ones?
plan, Develop a
Those are
master
just higher
irrigation
priorities.
plan,
Higher priorities.
refresh entrance.
Like, on
monument.
his, in his mind, my mind, 5 was the highest priority. If I had to rate them 1
That's a
through 5.
safety thing.
Add new
The
cyclical.
whole thing,
We did
Do
not.
we have a picture or?
It's already done.
Yeah.
That can
That's
get
done.
We
done.
already did
So I give it a
this.
5.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
we do five for
Things for that are
So you
tweaked.
probably want this to be
So I
like.
mean,
You have to
a
have
new
those
master
approved.
irrigation plan, you're talking about digging
We
up
already
the
added
old one and putting
the
down a new
right
system?
I assume we added the exact one to get in around the gate.
Going on.
Justin talked about doing an archway.
Jim, do you want a copy of this?
What is, what is?
You have to make it right.
We want to
Need water,
test our
circle.
appeal
Yep,
easement
that's
and
a
make it a
private
linear.
road.
road.
Just a month on my
Which is the
staff.
driveway.
What we talking about?
Don't,
Landscape.
don't you need the landscape plan to do the irrigation plan?
Not necessarily.
I mean,
If you-
irrigation, you're talking about digging up the old thing, throwing it out and putting down a brand new.
If we bring their.
So what do you need?
Which that can find.
Yeah, replacing
You have to do
the-
numbers 1 and 2, this is, it's only got 1 line on the next page.
Well, the easiest one to do is to refresh the.
My thing is,
We're
that's
on the
something
fence,
that
we only got the size
a
scale.
lot of your reviews, and it's not that expensive.
That's the, that's
Compared to a
the
lot of other
easiest
things.
I think this,
I prefer this.
And then,
Benches are
let's
only
go with
three.
irrigation plan,
we're
and
not
then
allowed
landscape.
benches over there on the park.
Because landscaping you can adjust, but
So,
irrigation,
That's
One,
you
two.
underneath
gotta look
the.
at the ground, you gotta dig up the landscape around the
Finish
neighborhood.
paving the pathways.
Right.
Towards the pool.
There's not a-
So you would typically,
Oh,
well, I think the landscape plan is
And that's to the, to the.
I need to know what's there, so I know
What's water?
what, how to do the water.
part of,
Do we have problems?
But I might not have you, we may not be able to.
You don't think I'm ever
Yeah,
gonna look at
Rotor
it?
sprayer.
But I think
so
they're gonna make
part of
us.
this landscape plan.
No, that's fine,
When
it's
I
246.
started,
What do we do?
the board had,
Okay,
invited
what, 246? and then what are we-
Chelsea, are we going through all these?
Are we going
Just
through
the one
every?
and two,
1 and 2.
and then we're gonna switch.
Okay, so, community improvements and maintenance?
There's not a plan to
So, can you-
redo them, there's not a plan, really, a total plan to put in new landscaping and not old stuff
Second
dies.
part.
So that's part of this landscape plan.
Alright,
Like,
so
let's
this
make
is
a,
two.
let's
This
just
is
map
two,
out
yes,
what's
we gotta do
okay,
all-
and here's the 7 trees we're gonna pick.
What do you
from.
want?
So landscape.
You got it, you got it.
This is the cluster of the plants.
First,
bushes,
at least the
shrubs.
concept.
Yeah, but
You guys
you
will
know,
plan
They're gonna
that.
put, putting in the wrong, very possibly putting in the.
I still think you need the
wrong
irrigation plan before
We
you
found
come
that.
on.
One, two, three, whether
You gotta dig
it's.
everything up anyway, but they're doing addition.
Place,
Alright.
convert over to
And then, you'll have, this is already determined, well, where should we, now when should we plant something? Just because a tree was here, doesn't mean the tree can't be here now.
So I think that's a one-off.
And you probably would.
Okay.
Okay, well, insertion valve program. That's the thing we're
To
talking
me,
about,
that's a
right?
money
Yeah.
issue.
And that's ongoing, like, we do it
You're gonna have a new
every
logo.
year.
It follows for all
But we
6
need to continue.
Implement
This is
restoration.
heavy money,
Yeah.
whatever.
That's that, you able to do the water
We
main.
got bigger. fish.
Oh,
So where do we have, that's money for us.
Sewer, CCTV,
Well, we need, we
Yeah,
got
so that's
areas
what
where
our saying.
anything
That-
coming in
that
through
is
the tree
the
lines,
process.
they have no money, nothing, nothing, you can say gateway when you go.
I would say,
And
this would be, well, the Tomato
Maybe
project.
put that at two.
all of the things that we had said to make sure we have.
So no, I know this, that actually puts me to construction, that puts up these two together.
Is
So I would
this
say
the,
4 and 5.
going,
It's kind of like-
which one is that, replace ones that don't work?
And I guess that is-
One of these days, we're gonna have this, we're gonna have to shut down half this community because we don't have
It
guys.
doesn't have a number.
Well, it's part of that.
This is.
And get your
I
main
thought that was
lines.
something, so we're.
And
Yeah,
so
it's
see
in-
where our critical areas are.
Don't they go together?
Is there a
Yeah, but
valve
they don't have
there?
a number.
There
We're
should
just
be,
looking at
if
that.
there is a valve there,
But
doesn't
there's
work,
a,
you should want it, it doesn't, it needs to be replaced, and just start going around the community and get these done. That's critical.
Alright, so.
Implementation,
I would
So
say
valve
that-
recommendation
replacement,
from
number
capital
two.
reserve.
yeah, and it goes with number one, it's kind of harder.
Yeah. This one didn't have a number. so
It's
that's
funny.
Which one is three?
That's, you know, next to the car garage, reading with traffic.
And then the rest, I think you can.
But you guys have lift
Yeah,
stations.
I find,
I don't know, care what ordinance has to go in.
the building software is.
So, Right.
all that.
Well, and all of it.
Hey, Billy,
Yes.
what's IVR?
Oh, that's the, when you
Yeah,
call in
your
and you
IVR
like,
communication with
they
the
say
other
for this, press 1, for this, press 2. So it'll give people the opportunity to call in, punch in their credit card number to pay, or their bank account information. It's like in something voice recognition, I forget, but it's like, when you call somewhere and they're like, talk to an operator, press 0, that's an IVR. It's that menu, the voice menu. I don't either, I'm like 000000000.
It costs
Customer
charge.
We have a good system, we have a good system going here.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Well,
I-
you know it better than I do.
We have this in progress right now.
As far as sewer goes,
It must be something that's upgraded. It's gotta be.
No, that's the worst thing I do. We're getting into
Grants. Number 3 is number 1. Which one's number 2?
number
I don't know, these would be
4
like,
and
that's
number
not
1
3
are the
nine
same thing.
but
They
that
tie it
one's
up
for the
here
most-
to
Well,
Well,
that's
that's
what I think
four
should be.
and one.
number 3.
I think they meant
Okay, so
the
number
valve
1 is
replacement
number
is 10,
2
so
and
it's on a
number
separate
4
line.
is number 2.
So this,
Yeah.
I think
It's
that's
the
all.
same thing.
this is all.
And then the rest,
Evaluated for risk management.
whatever.
Well, valve replacement, though, we
Well,
had that
the
material.
sewer,
That's
that
a
is
thing.
the inspection.
Which, one
I
of
would
the
say
ten,
irrigation, this one actually
compared
ties
to
in
the
with
2
all the
million
stuff.
gallon storage tank.
Program.
So let's see.
or what this one
The
would
joint
be is
project.
insertion
Well,
valve
that's
replacement
like
here,
the
could
water
you just,
Irrigation system replacement
so is that number
and
10? Is that
irrigation
what that-
design.
Yeah.
Let's see
I
that one first.
think that's the,
Gotta be done. Evaluate.
I think that is part of
management system.
this up here.
So
It's just the tracking
New
mechanism.
master
Cartograph.
irrigation.
So it's
Oh,
part of
okay.
cartograph,
So
we
it-
can
it's
work
like-
those
Yeah,
out.
So which of
Those are
those
assets,
four is
and
number
we
1?
need to work on that.
All right.
We don't have
We don't even own
You
it.
can give them on.
Taking the financial system and our asset
That's
management.
I don't know where our responsibility really goes with that,
Weekly
because we found that the
irrigation
county actually owns.
Oh,
And then irrigation design, that's for like the knots.
So I'm sure like an apartment, you have to do
Thought they started
certain,
Oh,
to
I would
Right.
say,
you know,
maintenance or
Well, let's make that number 1.
upkeep, whatever, but,
this one?
Yeah.
as far as
Right.
repairs.
So under irrigation, which one do you think is number 1? Number 1?
And then replacement, I think this is
Oh, it
probably
goes
more
demon,
important.
Yeah,
demon on every one of
Without-
those.
without
Yeah,
that
the-
tank.
When you send her something, it automatically kicks back up. Yeah, she's got everybody locked out. Just so you know.
The last
That's real good for
one.
the chairman of the board. That's real
We're
good.
going to Landry.
And then lighting.
Okay, sewer cleaning codes.
The evaluation,
These are,
That's
one,
the second
one,
phase.
I'm just gonna do
4 and 6 are the same, pretty much.
Oh, so you know what-
You want to decide on
One,
how
4,
that's
and
why I
6
think
are the
yeah,
same.
easy.
Sewer
Because-
cleaning,
Yes.
sanitation,
Yes.
And what about,
sections, they're all.
So what do we do? Eliminating them on the new
Yeah.
form?
for
All right, but
They're all
location,
one,
how do we,
though.
Okay.
Pelican next amendment?
Oh, one.
More
Yeah.
management.
Inventory list.
With that section, you want to
Yeah.
go over the sections or you just want to
Yeah,
rotate?
I do.
As
I
we
want
go?
to stop, pause.
Okay,
There's a lot of redundant
Inventory.
stuff in there.
I know, we're gonna update
Some
it.
of them are like 3 of the same thing.
You-
Or some of it's already done, so we didn't
Yes,
rank it.
sewer. No, that's wise, fittings,
Yep.
pipe.
Good job, Bob.
I'm gonna put it in sewer.
Oh, Tom, is there a
Project.
PPAC meeting on Monday?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Think about it.
because we couldn't have it, by
Hurricane,
because
no,
of
we'll do
hurricane.
it.
Okay,
And there's a pond meeting Friday,
yes.
same reason.
Yes,
Everything
that- yeah, that's.
Actually, husband John will
Sewer
have to come to
manhole
that one
rehabs.
on
gotta get
Friday
that.
because
God, I
I've got an
think
appointment,
how
so.
bad those are.
yeah, they have some.
I have a meeting with
our
our auditor,
Joint
accountant
project
meeting
will be
about the
done.
P-TAC funds in the
Irrigation,
morning on Monday, and then I
storage.
have P-TAC in the afternoon.
That's gonna be
It's a
done.
Pelican kind of day Monday for me.
Irrigation system replacement.
Or
And it's a
a great
Friday.
day.
It's a Pelican
What's
kind of day for
grading
me.
that?
We didn't do
Well,
it.
if
Going
it's-
on.
Exact same.
Oh, yeah, I did. A little bit.
What are you talking about for this
Little bit.
irrigation system replacement?
No, I'm-
Is that
this irrigation design.
Actually, I did, because I had to prepare a whole bunch of
Yeah,
documents for the meeting on Monday, so I did a lot.
The lights.
It's a
Oh,
perfect
okay.
So that
Pelican,
means then you won't have.
Already.
These are-
it's a perfect Pelican
I'm off
bag.
Friday, so you get no time for me on Friday, because I'm off.
It's gotta be done. Every one of those.
So that's where they are with the, you can
That's
see
all they
it.
wanted us to go through.
We have one more follow-up. and it's coming to
Monday.
And what's
On
coming to
Friday.
us?
I don't know, I'll let you know after Monday.
this. Hopefully a number.
Yeah, that's the plan. I have 93 documents sitting in a file.
You guys done?
To look at.
$1,000 a doc.
All right, we're all done.
right.
Compare. Chelsea's decided she's gonna try to record it as we go. This is gonna be amazing. Let me ask the board members, did you know all this was going on? Sure. All of this, I mean, there's no surprises for you?
On these lists,
Mhm.
for the most part, except for some, like I said, that yoga deal. No, they didn't care.
I wanted to yoga.
And doing the things with the community, I mean, those are so far down on my list, it's not funny. We got fires on all four sides of us that are utility basically driven. That's where we need to be.
But
concentrating.
keep in mind, Parks and Rec is an enterprise. That falls under Daniel. So we have staff dedicated.
I'm including stormwater management. same
Okay.
thing. Stormwater management, public works related deals,
Okay,
and our three core utilities.
okay.
That is why we are here.
Well, things like, repairing the fence, I just assume that that's gonna be done. If the fence is down,
Yeah.
that, you
But
don't
I
need to say,
think-
oh, I think that's a good idea to fix it.
And that's a,
It's a common
that's
sense.
exactly what we kind of want you to see. We want you to see just how much is on their list. I mean, when I talked to you individually, some of you said, it seems like Chelsea's just doing everything, we're not really sure what she's doing. And we want you to see all of these tasks that are on the list of Chelsea and her staff, to try to complete those 3 goals that she has. She can't just focus on that. All of this has to be done, it's a lot.
But we're different than almost every other CDD that I see in the paper all the time. They meet once at best a month. We meet.
You wanna meet once a
at least
month?
Twice.
Is that what I'm hearing?
We have meetings
I heard
all the
that
time,
too.
so it's not like we come in and there's a surprise that happened yesterday. We know about it almost immediately. So that's why a lot of this stuff to me is, I don't worry about that. We know it's being done.
Okay.
Now, to have the volume where, again, I go back, if we're having problems with staff being able to get their workload done because we got too many irons in the fire, we'll go pull some of the irons out. And the 4s and the 3s, get backseat to 1s and 2s.
And that's what.
Unfortunately, I got one hell of a lot of 1s on my sheet.
Uh-oh.
And that's the point of this. That's exactly the point of this.
Well, when you have the 1s and you're operating utility, it's not like South Florida Water Management District, we're not gonna work on the ponds this year because we don't have enough people to do it. You know how far that's gonna go?
Yep.
They're gonna tell you, go get people. You've gotta do it. There's not many things that we're doing, that Billy's doing, or that Dan is doing, that you're doing for the hell of it. You're doing it because
No,
it has
everything
to
we
be
do is
done.
driven by regulation
You
All
say,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
and obligation.
Chelsea,
Right. Common sense.
Now we're sweeping the street.
You're gonna
You're
do
sitting
the
here with
type
50,
that's on
60
that
million
ask
dollars in assets, you just don't let it rust. Now, prior boards would,
All right, let's go one by one this section as a group and now, one of the things too, which we haven't even talked about is if you want to add anything, this is the time to, remove things.
where's our sheets from yesterday? Did we have anything from yesterday's sheets?
It's all on here, Jordan, as we
It's
go
at the
through.
very end.
So everything that were on those 3
Yes.
pages have been incorporated in.
Yes,
Yeah.
so we'll get to that section. So we'll go one by one. Lorna, is that good? Okay. Sorry, caught you mid-mouth. So, who wants to speak up? I'm
Group
making
one,
that.
group two,
On
group
number
three.
1, I put 1.
Group 1, what do you have for that one?
okay, we have, number 2, the survey of the community for PR events as number 1.
Wait, let's just start with number 1.
That's
Established
done.
parks. What ranking did you give established parks and annual events?
We didn't rank it. 'cause
Two.
it's done.
Okay, what did you guys give it?
We did it because it's done.
But it's ongoing. You'll be doing it every
It's
year.
ongoing.
Okay, then we didn't rank the first 2.
What'd you guys rank it?
Or the last one.
Well, so again, we're back to a 1-year focus, right?
Do what now?
Yeah,
1
We're
year.
1 year focus,
Good
it's
point.
done.
Those first two
For
are
this
already
year.
done.
good point, good
And
point,
so is the
Bob.
last one.
So I'm gonna hide them,
All right,
and this one's, oops.
survey the community.
1, 2, and 8 are done.
Well, what we did is we used
Doesn't mean it goes
five.
away though.
And survey
just
the
hit
it.
community.
Dan used five, which I thought was a good idea, to indicate something that's done. In other words,
We
otherwise
use
we
a
don't,
line across it.
if somebody's looking at it and they aren't in this room, they didn't know that it's
The
done.
new sheet has a column for completed, so. we'll be able
And
to fill
3,
them out.
4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, we didn't care. Well, do them in whatever order the staff wants to do them in. I mean, that's not, we shouldn't be
But
involved.
four,
For,
five,
for
six.
quality of life for this goal across the board, it's more community outreach and it's a like to have versus an absolute gotta have versus.
So can I make a recommendation really quick?
Yeah,
Yeah, so there was some conversation on like the specific programs. I think we shift our priority to creating a role for program and events, because I think as a board, we really don't care whether we have yoga or what programs for seniors. I think the point is we need to have someone that is driving programs and events, because that drives community belonging and that type of stuff. And whatever they come up with, as far as, through their vetting process, that's where I think the priority should lie. So to me, the priority should be to create a dedicated programs and events role under Parks and Rec. And that will solve the problem of driving ongoing programs, events, for the various demographics. I think that would solve, in my opinion, I think that builds the foundation capability. That should be the priority.
Do you view that as a staff function or a volunteer?
Yeah, Bob, it's a staff function. It falls under Parks and Rec. It's all, to me, the role is the same person that is the league liaison is the programs and events coordinator. And their responsibility is to either drive organic programs within the district or to partner with outside individuals to run and develop programs within the community and to coordinate programs across sub-communities.
Where's the committee come in?
Well, we have, that's kind of reworked Carrie's job description for this year, and that's actually part of her role.
Then if that's her role and she's doing that, then that's great. I think that priority, we can check off all the sub-program stuff. Because at the board level, we don't really care what programs, as long as it's meeting the needs of the residents.
okay, I have a suggestion. How about we don't number this? It's a low priority for everybody, and we don't number it.
Well, I was just trying.
Well, I don't think it's a low priority to me. I think having programs, events, and community belonging is really important for our community because it drives the usage and utilization of our facilities and our amenities, which we're spending money on. And I think it's a critical piece of meeting our vision and our mission statement.
But how does that person, that staff person, are they subordinate and supplemental to the volunteer group? Or is this an independent?
Well, the volunteer group provides feedback and vetting as a committee that input should be considered and leveraged by this person in this role. So the hierarchy is the programs, events, coordinator. If that's Carrie, if that's part of her role, well, she reports into Daniel. She should be attending those Parks and Rec committee meetings, or at least getting feedback from them.
Yeah, she leads that.
Okay, so going back to, this is 1 year outlook.
Yeah.
Out of these things that we have on the screen, what do you prioritize for this next year?
Comment on what Ed's saying. Ed, can you hear me?
Doug?
That's Doug.
Doug, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
I sure can. Yep.
I think we do have a person, from what I'm understanding,
We do.
who has that role. But don't forget that this document is not, we don't want to cross stuff off this list. We want an open, transparent list of all the different types of projects that they're working on in order to do those services and programs. So I just want to be careful that we don't water this down and start taking stuff off because it's not a priority to us or it's not important to us. It still has to be done. They're in place, they're in action. And I'm a little worried that we might.
I thought that's why we're doing 1 through 4. It
But
needs to be
they're-
done,
but
but
they're
it's
still
not a
there.
top
Yeah,
priority.
but they're still there. I don't want to just group it under, we have one person taking care of this and we don't care about all the tasks. I mean, this is a task list for staff to understand what what specifically they're working on.
And my
Yeah, but
concern
what's,
is different.
my point is,
That I would think
what's
that
important is that
Stop.
we're creating programs and events. The specific events are almost secondary. The priority is that we're driving programs and events. If we've got someone that's doing that today, that's great. But it's still a priority for next year to enhance those programs, because if we're talking about spending significant money at the pool and we've got an issue with volume and participation at the pool, part of Carrie's job should be driving people to the pool through programs and events. It's enhancing the usage of our facilities and amenities, or else why are we spending money on them if we're not driving interest?
Well, to my point on this, Doug, is that the Pratt group should be the one that's driving, and Carrie gives the tools to make it happen, but the person that should be setting the priority should be the group, not the staff. I don't know whether the dog.
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but like the community is an input mechanism. It's not a decision-making function. That's by design.
Well, that's not the way the committees that I'm familiar with work.
Well, committees don't have the ability to. They recommend.
I understand.
In the draft document.
Difference,
Right.
but it comes from the ground up, not from the top.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I think we're saying the same thing. It's Carrie's responsibility. She has the authority to facilitate that what is recommended or what's being driven by communities or residents or the board, whatever. That's my point.
Well, I like the supremacy of the citizens rather than the staff. Maybe that's the philosophical difference.
Yeah, that's fine.
But that's why this list is so important, because of transparency and communication, which is one of our major concerns. So maybe, Chelsea, we go for the top two most important. And,
That's a good idea.
And don't let,
All right.
I do though want you as board members, even if we don't make you do all of them, I just want you to read them. I just want you to see what they're working on. I just want you to have this awareness that all of this is going on and these are the projects they're working on. So that, you're not out there and somebody says, have you heard about that daggone yoga thing? And you're going, no.
But
I
we
want
do
you to
get
be able to say,
reports.
yeah.
We get monthly reports from all the subcommittees, all the work groups.
Well,
So we know
when
what
I
the work.
asked about this plan that comes out quarterly, nobody knew what I was talking
The
about.
plan, but we have the work group minutes that tell us what they're working on. I don't categorize it that, that's part of
I
the
guess
plan.
I'm not sure I trust that you're reading and really digesting all the information that you're getting.
Well, that's the
is that
fact.
fair?
It's much too much, yeah.
Uh,
But having on this piece of paper doesn't change that.
But it does, for this meeting today, I can say they saw it.
So out of this, the 6 that are up here, what are your top 2?
I'm sorry?
Out of the 6 that are up here, what are your top 2?
1 and 2.
Oh, I took the numbers off.
Well, for us, it was the programs for seniors and comprehensive scheduling for special events.
Okay.
We had that this top also.
That was your 2 also? Oh,
That was
wow.
our number one.
Number 1
We had
was
it as a
the
number one.
seniors, and then number 2 was this for us.
Community trainings, we put that as 2.
Oh, you had community training. How about you, Carol? What was 1 and 2?
Was the survey.
That's done already.
Well, but every year, the community should be surveyed as to what
I agree.
they want. And number 2, establishing Parks and Rec annual events schedule. So based on the survey, then you put together your schedule for the next year.
That could even include number 6.
Yeah, 1 and 6
Like,
are the
but 1 and
same.
6 are kind of the same
Right.
there.
Okay.
And we have farmer's market on ours, that one didn't have it.
I know, because it's done.
It's done.
We did that already, so.
That's completed.
And
It's
as far
started.
as whether.
So that's a 5
Still
then.
ongoing though.
But it's done, so we don't, yeah.
So should yoga rank higher than swimming classes?
We put
I
all
don't
those,
care.
we put all those as
No.
4.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter.
That's good right there. I mean, we had a survey to the community, that's
So
important.
here it is.
Number 2, we have create comprehensive scheduling for special events. And number 3 is develop programs specifically for seniors. I think that's good.
We good with those? Or you want to stick to 2?
I think we're good. Let's go to Parks and Rec. What'd you have for number 1? Ed?
Number 1, we had Number one was number one.
Same with
All
us.
right. Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And number four was number one.
All
Well,
right.
you can only, we did ours 1, 2, 3, 4, so our number 4 was was 2. Our number 2.
That's how we did it.
Oh, yeah?
You guys did yours different.
Hey, let
We
We
me-
looked at each one and rated each one.
Oh,
1
we
through
did the whole
5.
list, we ranked the
Like,
list.
what was a
Oh,
priority,
okay.
if it was a high priority or not.
You guys did yours different than we did.
All right, is the dog agility course and community garden, what are those?
I think they're tabled.
And
Tabled?
Yeah.
They're no, to me, they're no longer 2025 priority.
What color?
We will hide them.
Maybe my swamp.
Wouldn't say.
Okay.
Tabling-
Soccer
tabling
complex.
those items that-
We have the lights, number 4, as our first one.
Number 4.
Number
That's
4.
Number 1. Carol?
We had, the parking, we had number 1 as number 1, the additional parking. And we had the soccer field health plan as number 2. And the others were just
They're all part of
maintenance,
the health plan.
yeah.
We had the first one as number 2, so.
2, 3, 4, and 5 are all part
This just
of
makes sense
Are
to
the
me.
fields good?
Because you got numerous number ones.
Ed, what do you guys have?
We had number 1 as 1, we had 2 and 3 as 3, and 4, 5, and 6 as 1. Because they're all tied together.
They ranked theirs, they ranked each one on 1 to 5, or we took the whole list and ranked them.
That's okay. We can
We
get,
force rank.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
so, we good with that?
Common Park.
Hey, Chelsea, did we want to add storage onto here? You know, we kind of talked about storage. Or do you want to wait on that?
Not gonna happen in this year.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, fine. That's good.
You're talking LGO type A, data storage facility, that wouldn't happen this fiscal.
That's fine. We can move on.
Okay. Common Park. What you guys were, what was important to you, Ed?
Number 1 was 1,
Number 1.
and it's totally gonna be based upon bids.
Okay.
How these bids come.
Bless
Carol?
you.
We had number 5 as 1,
So did we.
and the fencing, we thought that was a safety issue and all that sort of stuff. That was more important than,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did too.
But that is 1. And how about y'all? Bob?
We did the
Number
same.
The only reason
Number
we,
5 was our number 1.
only reason we rated number 5 so low is because we've already done it. So,
Can we add the numbers in?
You're throwing your bone,
I
man,
know,
throwing your
I know.
bone.
You've already added the fencing?
Yeah, it's done.
Oh, well, that's done then.
We
Okay.
just got it done in the past month and a half.
Oh, okay.
All right, so of
It's
these,
done,
And
Carol.
once we sent him on vacation,
So number 2's done for that matter.
See, Carol didn't know it was done. All right.
Our
so,
number 2 was the splash pad.
Resurfacing the deck is gonna be a high priority if it's bad shape. I mean, can't let it fall apart.
so of the 3 that are up here, how do you rank those 3?
How do you rank number 3?
How do you rank the 3 that are up here?
Number 1 is 1, number
Number
4 is 2.
Number 3 was 7.
I mean, number 3's been tabled. I mean, the cost of what that came in at was something that nobody had an appetite for, so.
Well, that could be incorporated as part of this,
Okay.
the splash pad.
All right, linear park.
I remember that one, that was a $500,000 and the splash pad was something that
Yeah.
wasn't bang for buck worth it.
You have to have a large volume storage.
And then you have to redo all of your pump stations and everything else, filtration.
That's too bad.
It would be nice, it's just,
it's a fire hydrant.
bang for buck, it's not worth it.
You don't
For the-
think about that.
I said for us, it went 2, 1, 3 for Linear Park.
2, 1, 3?
Yeah.
Did we add those?
No. Well, 2 is done, we've scrapped it, I guess, it's crossed out on my list.
Yeah, you can't have the.
The number
any of
1 was our
structures
second
on
So
it.
1 is 2, 3 is 1, and 4 is 3 for us. So it goes 2, 1, 3 for how you had it right now. At ours.
If you're gonna-
Daniel, did you guys agree with that?
If you're gonna do the linear park, to me, you're gonna have to take and connect the path to the Commons Park.
Yeah, that's
And
what we put in
So
the
that's why we put
Right.
tie into common.
1, 3, and 4. 1, 3, and 4 all is one. You can't do one without doing the other.
Yeah, what you
Otherwise,
guys
it
have.
makes sense.
We have number 4, create the plan, is number 1.
Well, we're mixed up
And
on
then number
that one.
2, the entrance improvements.
So just,
4 and 3 are kind of the same thing.
Yeah. It's all getting the pathways to tie into the commons,
Right.
which would be a part of the, really, once we do the master park plan, once we do the master park plan of the commons, having a way to tie it into the FPO without having a dirt path.
Need a good mud pie. All right,
So,
so that has to be one.
okay,
All right, awesome. Wow, we're on core area number 2 already. Community improvements and maintenance.
ours
Landscape.
went 1, 2, 3.
You gotta do number 2 first before you do number 1. How can you put in a water system if you don't know what you're watering? That
I
makes
think
no sense.
I think 1 and 2 both have to go, I
They
mean, like,
they
they
gotta
have
go
to hit
together.
at the same time,
But
yeah.
they have to go together, but you gotta do the plan first. If you're going to have grass in an area, the watering for grass is different than if you're going to have like bushes that would require, what do you call it?
Right.
Bubble, or,
Drip
bu-
Drip
drip,
lines.
drip irrigation, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're gonna tear up all the landscaping anyway.
Do what?
You're gonna tear up all the landscaping anyway when you put the new irrigation system in. So
Uh,
you
no,
design the
we
system
did it
first,
all-
that you want water every so often.
We did over
then you
gateway, we
plant the
didn't
plants
tear
accordingly.
everything up, do it. It just depends on what you're putting in as to if you've got to radically change it. If you got to radically change, if it's grass and it's gonna be grass,
Well, when I
hopefully
asked
you
the
are gonna.
question, I was told the whole system's going out and a whole new system's going in.
But that's the control system, that's not all the pipe. I'm
No,
not-
laterals.
yes,
Really,
the
are you
piping.
intending on doing the mainline piping?
no.
No.
No,
lateral.
this is
The
sprinkler
main
stuff.
lines aren't getting
You're,
touched.
you're talking from basically the meter on.
Right.
Or we call it the pedestal.
No more 9-volt batteries.
You don't like nodes?
Not a fan.
Node, we
They're
don't,
worthless.
Ed, node, we don't.
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing that we're gonna run into though, is that if you have areas like cul-de-sacs and things like that, you're gonna end up with nodes, or otherwise you're gonna be spending one hell of a lot of money doing borings.
I'm hearing this as 2, 1, 3. Is that what I'm hearing? Landscape, 2, 1, 3?
Well, the first thing the
Yes,
engineer's
three,
gotta have,
two,
and have
three,
knowledge
one.
of,
And we
is
have
he's
1,
gotta,
2,
he's
3.
gotta tell us what's the plan.
Consensus.
What are we putting in this stuff before you sit there bringing in a water system? That's a waste of money. We've got, if he's
Well,
planning on grass, then we plan on watering grass.
Part of this landscaping plan, what I was telling Carol, is right when I first started here, you guys had brought in the arborist, Ronnie, and we're trying to put together a plan for these oak trees and these plantings, what types of shrubs, plants. Pelican already knows like what shrubs work, what trees work, what plants work, what hedges work. We don't have that on the Gateway side. So part of that was making like a list of like an approved landscaping list of what works in Gateway. And then where do we put that? Do we want to do a full-blown landscaping plan enhancement of the boulevard in Griffin? Griffin maybe, because that's really not been done. We've got a couple flower beds, but that's up in the air. There's been no conversation at the board level on that.
I don't know how you take and talk about a control plan until you know what you're controlling. So you've got to have a landscape plan. Are you putting in trees, you're putting in bushes, you're putting in shrubs, you're putting in flowers, you're putting in grass? What are you putting in? Then you determine what kind of water needs you have.
Okay, well, that's what we have right now, right? Number 1 is developing the master
Yep.
landscape plan.
2, 1, 3.
Number 2 is developing.
But I don't know that we're doing that right now.
We don't have there's no plan for any landscaping enhancements as part of the project.
Which then raises, what's RWA doing then?
RWA is doing all the irrigation for the existing, for what is
The
existing that's out there.
Landscape.
But if we change that, is that not wasting money? Why are we doing it on the existing if we're gonna change it?
We're not changing the landscape.
I wish we'd have tried that logic.
So the plan's not changing, man. What we got is grass, is gonna stay grass. What we got is,
As of right now, until the board says otherwise, correct.
So no landscape changes,
well, then
not
why,
planned right now.
we're going in circles. Why do we need a plan then if we're
I'll
not
think
changing
about
it?
landscape plan.
Well, again, when I started, you guys started to talk about a plan, so we added it to the list. If you guys want it to come off, it can come off, that's fine by me.
But I just don't want to spend $1.5 million, $2 million on an irrigation system or a control system that we're going to change doing it in a year later. I mean, that makes no sense at all.
The only areas of improvement that I would really consider is Griffin. So if there's a desire of the board to make enhancements along Griffin Drive as we put in irrigation down Griffin, because really there's just minor irrigation, then we can incorporate that with RWA's contract and have them design it too.
I think we need to leave this as is, because this isn't the place really to make those decisions.
Yeah.
And we need to discuss that further. So first we have to decide what our landscape plan looks like and so on. So
Okay.
I think we should just move past it, because
What we-
obviously there's more discussion.
What we need is a map, a layout plan of all of our common area. And we can look at that real quick like and determine, a good example would be the road rights of way. In the medians and on the sides. We're not gonna change much on that. It's gonna be grass.
It's Griffin, that's all.
So, well, Griffin's a little bit different because it never had, the developers did El Cheapo up there. The rest of us in the community paid through our lot prices and all that to do the improvements. Griffin never was done. And now we got Griffin that, what are we gonna do with it?
Stepchild.
We can
He's
take
got
it
a
up,
stepchild,
we'll
that's
take,
exactly
we'll
right.
take it up on Thursday.
And you got people that are outside Griffin, that area, they're gonna say, hey, we already paid for ours, we're not paying it again.
Yeah.
That should have been done by the developer, so consequently, that cost gets passed back to the people who border along that road. And here we go again.
All right,
Kind of like repealing Rule 6 before we knew where it went.
I'm sorry.
So it's not constructive.
It's,
We gotta repeal
Daniel,
Rule
what do
6.
you
and
have
then we'll
number-
finish it.
what's number one underwater?
what'd you say?
They were all number ones, every last
We
one
had
of them.
every
They-
one of
they
them.
were-
Oh,
there's
okay,
different
all right. What do you
Yeah.
guys think?
We had the meter replacement,
Yeah.
and then the FGUA, and then both valve things we put as 3.
Okay, so the meter replacement is
So
one.
we had 2 3s.
Yeah, we had number 4, which is meter replacement project, is number 1.
Okay,
And number 2, implement recommendations from capital reserve study is number 2.
uh-huh.
And then the others just kind of fall in between.
And you guys had what again now, Laura?
We had meter replacement as number 1,
I had
and then the
valve
FGUA
Two.
interconnect, and then the valve, we had number 1, and then the, I don't know, I guess it's number 10, because it didn't have a number.
Oh,
So we
Which
covered
doesn't-
off as
Valve
part of the
doesn't fall
ones,
under-
because
there's
they've
one
gotta
on
be
They
done,
all gotta be done.
they've all gotta be done,
They all
period.
gotta be
Yeah.
And there's no, like, let's prioritize this one over this one, it's,
I thought we
they're all
were gonna be doing
regulatory
it in order.
requirements.
We had the valves as 3.
But yeah, I mean, we're doing multiple things at the same time.
Right.
I mean,
So you didn't see any we could mark off, huh?
This is more of a sequencing than
Yeah,
priorities.
yeah. Okay.
Most of the utility billing stuff was at the bottom.
The way we looked at all of these, they're all, everything that's on this list is one.
everything.
Everything.
what do you guys think about this numbering? Did I miss one? Oops.
Yeah, that makes a good point. That's one.
What do you think about those numbers?
You have 2 number 2s.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, no, it's a 7
No.
at the bottom.
Oh, it is a 7, okay.
Those
So 1 is meter replacement, 2 is the insertion valve,
This is your thing, right?
3 is
Does that look
FGUA.
like the right sequence to you?
I mean, like I said, it's something that we don't wait for one to get done
Yeah,
and work on 2.
Yeah,
We're
multiple
doing
things
them,
going on.
That's why we did it that way.
we're
Yeah.
doing them all at the same time.
Okay, so talk now, taking a gander and looking at this as one fiscal year, I don't think 6, 7, and 8 are gonna happen this year.
That's a Leslie thing, though. So that's more of an admin side of utilities, not a
Yeah.
bills team.
But I don't see that occurring this fiscal year.
That one's already in progress, and we're looking at the next one, so. And are you guys looking at the billing rates?
I thought we already established those.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
just
rules,
before we-
billing rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are more administrative things, those 3 there. They're not, like, you don't need field staff to do that
It's under
stuff.
the water, but it's under the admin side of the water instead of
Right,
under the
alright,
utility.
so we'll leave them like this. You guys good with the priority on this one?
All right, let's go to sewer.
Where?
We have number
Sewer.
1 as 1.
We have number 3 as one,
They're all one
the
again.
forest main and irrigation.
That was our
main,
number
That was our
2.
number 2.
And then the sewer cleaning, jetting, and videoing plan as number 2.
1, 4, and 6 are basically the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
we didn't even rank 4 and 6, we just considered them part of 1, which was our number 1.
All right, so what do we have on these?
We had, our number 1 was 1 for us. You said-
Yeah, I mean.
You said
but
3
again,
was number 1 for us.
And
so,
our
I
3
mean,
was
the-
number
the-
2 for
The
us.
force main and irrigation is in progress.
Yeah.
Like it's,
That's what,
so.
You're talking about the lines coming down the
redundant
FPL
line
easement,
up, yeah, down.
and it comes over to the plant,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
so,
that's gotta be done.
but again, this is all stuff that's going to happen
regardless,
at the same time, you know.
yeah.
It's all gonna be being worked on. It's not, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do this.
Have we seen the plans yet for this?
For the redundant line,
Yeah,
yes.
I saw them when they were in a preliminary, but I haven't seen them since.
Yeah,
They're
they're-
done?
They gotta be
They're
close.
close. We've been having some issues up here at this intersection. So we've been working through that. I think we have
Conflicts?
conflicts and just adding valving so that we have some flexibility. Instead of just tying everything in, and then if something happens, everything has to shut down.
We don't want that.
I mean, the whole purpose of having a redundant
That's the whole
line
idea.
is being able to section something off and still
Have an
have
alternative route to the
workability.
plant.
So, yeah.
All right.
So we're working on that, and then we're also working on the means and methods of, you know, the installation and how the process is
Okay,
going to.
we got the easements issues up the FPL easement done, resolved,
And that, we're close.
That,
We're
yeah,
close.
what you said?
We're close.
Working on
We're
that.
close.
Close.
So,
Because we moved it over, as I recall, to the edges of the FPL easement,
yeah,
except where we had to cross.
yeah.
All right, for irrigation, I think we captured these 2 items as part of the landscaping above, so I think those can go away.
We're missing the redundant storage.
Except we had a question on number 1 there, repairs to the
It's done.
storage tank.
We don't own it.
No, but what is our responsibility?
I don't.
We
think
don't know.
We,
The
I think we
county
end
owns
up
it.
paying in our portion of it through the, whatever they bill us, and we do our
Is
true
that
up.
for the true
Yeah,
up
they'll
part?
do that
Okay.
as part of a capital project,
Okay.
and we'll pay in our share as
That's
part of
something
the
I'm
true
still
up
learning
at the
about.
end of the year.
Which tank's ours then? The 6?
None of them.
No, none of those tanks are ours.
None
at
of them.
all. Okay, so how?
They got us
And
$10,000
we don't
back
have
on
So
our
then
insurance.
that's part of
We
the,
took
any
that
type
off.
of a true up then,
Yes.
that we have with the county.
Right,
So
yeah,
then-
we'll pay for the repairs to that through the
So this
capital. and
really,
true
it
up.
shouldn't even be on the list.
Right,
Correct.
yeah, it needs to come on.
All right,
Yeah.
moving on to lighting.
Lighting,
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, we had the same.
we
1,
did.
2, 3.
This one.
Well, that was easy.
Man, look at
They're
y'all.
all priorities, but
Yeah, and they're not ours anyway.
Yeah.
There's nothing for us to do.
Done.
This is all
3
FPL.
would be, well, 3 would be.
You guys say it's done, but we have to coordinate and make it happen.
No, I mean, we're done with the first 2.
So let's go on to 3 and 4, but let's switch. Staff members, switch partners, all right? Have a new partner. And your 3 and 4, and this
Not
time,
every
let's just focus on your top 3, top 2, your top 2 or 3 priorities on these, okay? And Ed, we're gonna do it like 1, 2, 3, not just like, like, we're gonna say, there's 5 things, here's number 1, here's number 2, here's number 3.
So we're not gonna rank each one
But that
individually.
doesn't, that makes no sense. No
Here,
sense at all.
from the
You've
list,
got to
you
be
have to pick
doing,
yours.
we've got, like we did with Billy on his, all of those things have got to be done.
And that may
And
be,
it's only 1, 1, 1, 1.
No,
It's
you
not.
have to prioritize them.
we're prioritizing what they have to do.
What do you want done first? What do you want done in the next year? Think of it that sense.
You've got to do them all. That's the point.
We want it all, we want our cake, and we want to eat it too.
That's right, that's the whole idea. If you see that you've got all 5 ones, you've got to then have staff to be able to meet all 5 ones.
Well, then you can,
That's the only way you can do it. Otherwise, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 has to be done, you just gave it a priority that doesn't indicate that you need staff.
we'll move it up. Move her on up.
That's what we did.
All right, number 3 and number 4.
Alright.
What's the
Okay, which one are we doing,
Financial
finance?
Yep, run facilities.
admin
So
building.
which one's most important?
You want anything, are you okay?
I didn't ask you.
You guys need it.
To me, it would probably be
Utility storage, building, probably number one.
the.
But,
Do you want cream?
Well,
The
yeah,
admin
2,
building
6, and
is gonna be
7.
number
these are hard to rack and stack.
It's just
They're all
And then what
such
about
high
Yeah.
the
I mean,
well, and then for me, like my
The
top
cartograph and
would be
the
the
storage
admin building,
buildings
the
and
well,
the
storage building,
Yeah.
and
The hard
getting
building
it
well.
Administrative buildings should probably go
uh,
up.
number 2.
Where's that going?
And then
it's
what's
going,
two?
it's back there behind.
Okay, eight's gonna be one, we've
Yeah.
already done that.
Yeah,
So
so
what
like
are
2
you
is in
saying?
progress, 7 is in progress.
Do we have any sandstone?
7 is
We
already
have
in
a
progress.
sandstone
What is
back
that
there.
stuff?
That's
We
what
look
we're
at
doing.
the
Umbrella is just the GIS
It's in
mapping.
progress.
And they
Well, no, we
really,
gotta
like,
rank
One,
them
two,
on
and
the-
three here
when
all
they
go
set
in
the
tandem, right?
casing,
How do we go
they
from one
seal
floor to
it
one
past
day?
the
Yeah,
level.
because each list is different,
So
like this
that
one will be
there's
1
no-
through
you're getting
4,
credit.
so
Yeah,
there's
out of the map,
5, there's
that'd
8
be great.
Y'all may
projects,
get
there's
that
a
up
rank
to
on the map.
or-
So which one,
Okay,
one
so
are we
is the
more
well more
what do you
important
think
than
should
the
get done
buildings?
first?
Yes.
The maintenance well, we're
The
gonna
well
grade
is
three
the
for
upper
maintenance.
seven is number
Yeah,
2.
utility.
Oh, yeah,
public
that would be, we have to,
works.
we have to do,
Yeah.
like,
You can
oh, actually,
figure
there's
out
7.
Yeah.
So 1 through 7, we have to pick, we have to, what's your top
Because like
priority of the?
Other two is
building
the admin.
Cartograph.
Okay,
or
so that's
site.
one.
The second one is,
Yeah.
what's the building we're working on out
in
here?
progress.
Yeah.
Public
The
Works
one way
building.
down there behind
Is that
the
transit
One,
storage?
two, and three
Utilities
all
is behind
tie
it.
together.
That's not done yet.
It is not, neither is
We've been
public
doing
works.
all
That's
that.
the way the
All
public
assets
works
It's an
is.
ongoing evolution, right.
What's the issue on it?
It'll-
The
it'll-
damage being built in a small.
Identify
But we're
Wetlands, because all the flooding.
Right.
So we started with water and sewer.
So we're
Stormwater.
reviewing that right now.
And then we had-
It's not, platted
Lighting,
because
right.
I know, but because they went back
And
with
Daniel,
all
that's
that,
something that's
Yeah.
just no
they're
Daniel,
saying
right,
right now
on,
it's a
you know.
wetland.
So when you have.
So
South Florida is?
Was
So
there
we're
a
doing some, they're doing some
Okay, yeah.
investigation with timber, or is it ridge?
Timber Street's what?
They're to make sure that they're dealing.
I don't care.
Where's their water to get that?
That's what they're looking at right now.
Well, like we
Yeah.
captured,
So then
all this stuff
If
in-
If it's a $3 million ad, I'll put it, what about utilities, $8 million ad?
That one's, close to getting done.
So we'll have
So
that.
that's pretty important because we got all the inventory
Well,
coming
the
in.
little hot water well, it's gotta be in number
That's
two.
almost done.
That ought to be way high, because,
Number one, right?
yeah, it's,
How can it be money?
Oh,
Money.
We did admin, that's, and I would say 2 and then 3 with the well.
But you
The
can-
succession plan.
Yeah, the succession planning.
Yep, and then I would do 3
now we're back to, cartograph.
And all three
This
of
is,
those are
it's all
already in
organizational
progress.
design.
What is the utility fees?
Oh,
That's
the one with
pretty
public
good.
works and
Yeah.
all is done.
Make that number
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Because we're just holding on it.
Yeah,
That'll
that's
drive
really
where
really well.
that settles.
And then I would put.
But what are we gonna do if we don't have that?
What?
Where's that going? Where's that still
I don't know,
going?
that's what we're just, we're in a holding pattern now,
I mean,
depending on what they come back with.
Well, then those Passarella contract.
That has to happen before the stormwater can,
But-
because
So
they
we got
make
so
sure
much
they're helping
cartograph up
with.
here.
no,
So
I
those all
And
kinds of
we-
like.
feel like those are all
But
there.
that's
So what
for
are we
us,
looking
it's
at?
not summary, because like, especially your guys' stuff, over in
Maintenance building?
California and the rest of our. public
No, I
works
said
stuff,
it's in
like,
the handbook,
fixing
that is not gonna happen
public works
anytime soon.
assets need to get
Number one should be.
marked
No,
up.
we understand. So what are those
Because you
others?
gotta have.
It's going to happen.
I would
so that
say
will-
number 3 is 6.
It's not a,
Three is
Number
six.
1
One of those things that you put off unless
Oh, which one are you?
Because you gotta have your-
well, we've already finished up here, we just.
Number
That's it,
five.
that's a goal one. So,
Benefit
then we only got
Yeah,
5
I
for the
would
next
write
one, because we already did the utility rates.
Two,
so we
take
take
that.
that.
I don't really, yeah.
Okay, what, what's number 1 here?
Probably
You could have done this
for me and for staff, I think it would be actually number 4.
first. You were in North Carolina, you don't know.
Because that's
I
how,
was
that's
watching
watching
a
when we're going out.
Phone, the weather app
So as I'm
nonstop.
working on everything.
Four's
on there,
one.
it would
Staff.
be-
What's
And
next?
then probably
Oh,
2,
flying through this.
3 would be 2.
3 would be 2,
And
okay.
then 2 would be 3.
Staffing needs number
Um,
one, I think.
I
I
think
think
probably
number 7 is
Yeah.
the
Second item would be number one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm between,
This one I
Well,
don't care.
I feel like number 7 and number 8
one would,
are all
would you
pretty much the
put
same
number
thing.
one
Sign
go
I'm
boards,
guessing
waste
the succession
management.
plan
to,
is gonna be
to do
first.
number two?
So 7 and 8 are 1.
I would say number
And
1 is
then-
probably 2.
Well, I don't know,
Outreach with the
because
HOAs being
until
Because
we know
it's
what
kind
the
of
needs
doing it all
are.
the time.
You know,
the
that
best
might
way
be
for us to
another change.
communicate.
I would
They're
say
communicating to the residents that
Maybe
Look,
number 5 is
that's
number
what
3,
GIS,
and then number
You
6.
can combine those two.
common plan by tool
And then
education.
number
They
5,
kinda go
or
I
number
don't know
2.
what tool
They do.
education
And
is.
number-
how to
We're doing it
use,
in
how to
every
use
way,
the
so. Oh, that one's really good.
I think.
Show you
integrating
Um,
where we're planning.
Correct. And justify.
Yeah.
And then number 3 on required to do that annually.
How did matrix, oh, matrix.
Okay.
Make that good.
Matrix for insurance, that doesn't.
Staff
belong there.
development
That's
is automatic and free.
that's actually not human resources. This is for-
Yeah.
And that's what we use to do.
Completed
That's
those.
actually a vendor thing.
Oh my goodness, look at you
That
guys.
doesn't
You
go-
did both, the next 2 sections?
Yep.
We didn't have a lot, it was 2 sections I did.
What's number one? Number one?
That's good. Well, he's got his master's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
Master
much higher
Jedi, that's
expectations.
it.
See, this-
Man, we have much higher
It all
expectations.
happens at the same time, I mean, like, for me,
Human
it's
resources.
exactly, I'm like, for what? This matrix for insurance is in the.
I feel like
Forty nine, go out.
I feel like I
Okay,
should
so
have no
what's one?
input on
Update
this at all.
employee manual.
Yeah.
Me too.
Descriptions are probably, 2 would be 5. 5 would be 2.
Five would be two.
Well, you and I are more concerned about critical infrastructure
Right.
than all the flaws.
And I
Like,
think
if I had a
we
Parks and Rec
finished
department at all,
Yeah,
I
but we have
wouldn't
to review them
really
every year, I
care.
think
Right.
that would be 3D.
Three is
Would you
three.
give
And
us
then
a
4 is
document?
4.
That's what I'm saying is like,
And
all the
then
extras, that's all
2
the
would be
nice to
5,
have, so all the
and
community
6 would be
engagement and stuff like
And then
that
7
doesn't
doesn't
detract
belong
from what we do as our core
Are you one
competency, so
today?
having it or not.
Alright,
No. It's
I
okay.
mean,
yeah. I know, these are like,
All right. Talk to your supervisor.
oh,
That's a
skip
word
one
priority.
would be- I don't know, I don't know what
Public
these are.
outreach stage.
Oh, this is
Let's
more
say
like-
that-
Oh,
My
nice to
supervisor
have.
all
This
the
isn't
time.
even slated for this year.
All the time.
I don't
want to or not.
Public outreach.
1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe.
I think the feeling's mutual.
I think 3,
Refresh the
Put
website.
yourself out
well, I
there.
think 3 would be 1 for me.
You're funny.
Number 3,
No.
to make
It's
sure
funny looking,
public outreach.
at
Yeah,
best,
that's
at
a hard
best.
time.
You
It's
said
like
that.
I know,
getting
I know.
the communication out there.
No,
Not
we
that
got
I can
that.
remember.
We got a.
So did he come back
So
changed
let's
in
do
any
that
way?
side. When I
More
was doing all
snarky, a
this
little
deal,
sarcastic, yeah.
There was only 2 months.
So how should you put them up in a freaking hole and make them learn?
Part of this is, hey, don't do it. That's,
But,
That's
yeah,
the
there's
problem
things
in
that
our
are,
community.
there's things that are out of control, so that,
I
I
don't
would say
have
for
any
me, I guess the public outreach would be 1.
I'd rather been here
Three,
because I had
three,
family
one.
that
Yeah.
was too stubborn to
And then about 8 would be
leave, so
2.
I'd rather been closer to.
But they did okay.
Is that hereditary?
Maybe
It's definitely
4,
hereditary, come by honestly.
because that
Are
would
we
be,
supposed to do
like, we're
the
trying to
environmental
educate people
challenge
more
too?
about what the CED is and what we do.
I'm part of
Three
that.
and
What
four.
we,
3 and 4,
what
okay.
I do in our association, 2 times a year, I put
I don't wanna
a
rush
newsletter out.
No, no. Gotta pace
Key,
yourself.
key things,
After
And
and
that's what
then
this
tell
would
them
do.
where to go to find more information, if they want it.
If you're
Yeah.
done, take
Instead
a
of
break,
giving
go
them
walk
3
around,
paragraphs to
listen
read on something they don't give a shit.
Right.
I give them 1 paragraph, tells them what it is, and if they're interested, they'll hear for more information.
Yeah.
And
It's open for a
Get it.
location alarm.
some of the owners that come in new will read it.
Some don't.
That's all I got yesterday, I was like, I mean, I should have extended those words by a week.
What's a CDD?
Yeah.
Chelsea,
Yeah,
I don't know what you do.
Here I got my one.
Chelsea
and
would
two.
not have liked it, guaranteed.
I think we just do 1 and 2.
That's
My deal
long
is-
hot coffee.
1 is no reading to me at all. Talk to your supervisor, they've got our phone numbers, they can call anytime.
Yeah, so I think for me, I only have a 1 and a 2, the rest of them really.
Okay, I agree.
Okay, and then the bottom one, like, that's not gonna happen anytime soon.
Boss, you gotta give me knives.
So, yeah, I would say just.
We had time to do something.
For me, that would be a 1 and 2, that's it, we should be done. No, we had to do that, we're done.
Just gotta get pre-cut
We have
bagels.
to do this.
No, we only had
Check
2, 3,
it
4.
They're not,
That was
they're
4.
not.
4 was short.
Something somebody rejected from home.
Oh, God, stupid.
It's these chairs.
Dangerous.
Oh, you guys are
You're
done.
dangerous with that knife.
It's a dangerous knife, honestly.
That's what I did too, they're
It's not
big.
very sharp.
I haven't had grapes in a long time.
That's all. I'm trying to cut it, it looked like there's a challenge.
My back is
We went over to
probably
Plains.
time to drive again.
Our Comcast head guy from Pittsburgh was in town the other day, so we went down to that new Rise,
Oh, the new coffee shop?
new coffee shop. Man, they got stuff in there that is not good for your ribs.
But you have to go. Big apple. Over there.
Apple fruit.
That's good fruit. So when do you go back to the farm?
Our answer's always not soon enough.
No. I'm gonna let them finish picking and planting before I go back up.
Oh, they put you to work when you're out there.
Yeah.
Did you open up the?
Yeah, I got
December.
this message from her that I'll be on a tractor all day, and I was like,
No.
what?
Yeah.
No one's goes out. They do, I can't eat all. Without watermelon, can't let it.
The things we do for love.
Yeah.
You go there for like Thanksgiving and stuff?
Well, it depends on what crops they plant. So they normally, well, the past couple of years, they've done soybeans, corn, and wheat. Or they've only done soybeans and corn, and this year they're choosing to do wheat because the prices are so bad. So when he does all three crops, he's normally up there 8 months here, 4 months. When he does two, it's the reverse. So he'll come home probably mid-December. His sister's getting married too this year, so that's kind of throwing a wrench in things. And then he'll be home until early March, and then they start the process again.
Who's getting married?
His sister,
Oh, his sister, okay.
yeah.
Don't rub it in. It's a sore spot for Chelsea.
I don't care to get married at this point. Just buy me a ring. That's all I want.
I hope FPL's guys doing the cleanup for the mess they're making over there.
All right, William just,
And,
You mean those mounds at the base of each pole?
well, I mean, it is a mess.
they'll go back through and clean up the piles, and then we'll come through and hire Mainscape to put in sod. But the pole setting crew won't be back until Monday.
Well, they put in 3 poles before the storm. All 3 are still standing.
Oh, the ones on Soccer Drive, the arms are turned, and then one fell on Griffin, so when they come back Monday, they're gonna tackle those.
So how many acres do you have?
Those poles are going nowhere.
They farm about
They're 10
2,000 acres.
They're 10 feet deep.
The aerial depth is 10 foot.
Hey, we're all back.
Good.
Should we get to work? Uh-huh. Okay, so we're on number 3, facilities. All right, who wants to go first? Dana, what do you guys rank number 1?
Administrative building,
Number
then-
2?
Lower Hawthorne Well.
Did you do number 3?
1, 2, and 3 all kind of fall in the same category. They all feed into each other, and really that should be in category B, asset management. So that's all the asset management stuff. So the Passerelle GIS contract and all the cartograph for stormwater and utilities really is all asset management items. And they all fall together. Then the public works building and the utility storage building, those would be R3, but they both get about the same priority. I know Bill would probably think his is more important than mine, and I would think mine is more important than his.
Yeah, I ranked it number 1.
We ranked it number 2.
Sounds like
We have the
one-
admin
sounds
building.
like one of them isn't gonna go anywhere.
Utility storage was 1, Lower Hawthorne was 2, Public Works 3.
Ours was admin, utility storage, or Hawthorne.
Well, the admin, if it's a $3 to $5 million, or 2.3 million, then that's high. If it's 7, 8, then it's 8. $7, $8 million. then
You
it's
guys
8.
really need that building, don't you?
Depends on the price.
The admin building or the
The admin
storage
building.
building?
Admin, $2 to $3 million, yeah.
Yeah, but you
7, 8
have to do
million?
it
No.
sometime, right?
We had outgrown this building when I started in 2020.
Wow,
So we've been out of space since before I even started.
you guys really need it. It's like weird when you're from the outside and you go online to look, you know, where your headquarters is and stuff, and you see this building with a garage on it. It's like, huh? Is it right?
When we moved here full-time in 2004, there was an RV, or a mobile home right here.
Oh,
Right into the
wow.
office.
We had an RV storage lot for a while too.
Oh, boy.
It was still here, remember, it had mold.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Well,
yeah, we
the
moved it.
That was a different one.
Okay, did we get that one?
I got
Chelsea, you got it?
admin building 1, storage building 2, Lower Hawthorne 3, and Public Works 4.
Everybody good?
We
Not
did.
me.
We were in
We did-
public works
We put
last.
public works
We
last.
figured it wasn't
Admin
happening
sounds
this
like
year,
it's
so.
by far.
Huh?
Admin is not number one until I know the project.
Well, we have to make a decision, that's what the
Well,
task
you
is.
add it.
We have, yeah,
Don't
but I mean,
say
it is number one, because we have to make a decision first, before we can do the other stuff, right?
I think we all consensus go with storage buildings.
The admin building's one for me.
Well, if it's not number one for you guys, then it shouldn't be one of my top goals.
But I only hear one person saying it's not.
We
Yeah,
were a team.
3 of the
I'm
4.
pulling him under the bus.
How's that bus feel?
I don't wanna move there.
I'm comfortable with the slating the way it worked, way it's listed.
All right, moving on.
We might have some bias in the room. All right.
Asset
Asset
management.
Bill, shut your
Bill,
pot hole.
Laura, what do you got, number one?
We had number 4 as our number 1.
Yeah.
And then number 3 was our number 2.
All right. Bill, what do you guys got?
We have number 5, the utility fee schedule is number 1, and then number 2, the, number 3, implement the bond projects.
Okay, so we had different number one.
I will say the utility fee schedule is updated, but that is, something we should really be looking at.
That's why it's
We had
number
number one
one.
as the grant opportunities, because that's free money.
You had grant opportunities as number one.
Isn't the GIS that Passarella, why is that not, where's that set?
Ongoing, we're on year,
4 of 4.
Okay, so,
They had it up
never mind.
facilities for some reason.
I moved it down here.
Okay.
Okay, so we're saying number one is number 4. And number 2 is number 3.
That's what we said.
And then we had number 2 is 3. And number 3 is 2.
You had number 2 is
So
3.
ours went-
You had number 2 is 3. Okay. Wait,
No, ours went 3, 2, 1.
Who's on first, right?
Can you understand yet why staff has an issue with trying to understand which priorities is which?
Well, again,
Because it depends on who you ask what the priority is.
I do, I mean, the thing is.
I don't know how you can put the grant opportunities above the bond projects.
Yeah, ours is 3, 2, 1,
We
4.
didn't.
well, the grant,
1, 2, 3.
the bond project's something we gotta pay for. You wouldn't wanna get all the previews first?
The bond project has a timeline on
Right,
it.
that's why we have.
Yeah, you're not gonna slow down, well, the grants are an opportunity, and we absolutely wanna, focus on those, but I don't think you derail the moving forward with funding options.
We've already identified the projects for the bond and have the funds for the bond, and we have a 3-year time frame to complete them, so that's why we rank them higher than the grants.
It's semantics, but
Is utility field fee schedule higher priority, because
It's already
that's
done.
generating revenue?
It's done, though. So we put it as a 4, because that way we just review it.
Okay, let's go to staffing. Carol, what's number 1?
Number 3, create a succession plan and budget. Number 2 was staff development. Number 6.
What did you guys think, Bob?
We had 1 and 2 as being the number 1 item. And then 2 was the succession plan, 3 was staff development, and 4 was career development.
Succession is 1, because we had 1. Succession for us was 1. And then we had assess staffing needs annually as number 2.
so in my opinion, if you create a succession plan, that's great. But then right behind it, you have to have career pathing for that succession plan. You always have to be prepared if one role leaves, that you've got someone behind them that can step in. Maybe not 100%, but that's part of succession planning is the drafting, but then there's an execution that happens behind it, which I think is the career pathing, in my opinion.
We had those as 3 and 4. So we did succession plan, assess staffing needs, and then 3 and 4 were our career paths and then staff development.
Yeah, but the point is, you can have a plan. Okay, if Chelsea leaves, X person steps in. But if you're not preparing them and developing them, then your succession plan is ineffective.
Gotcha. So he's saying it goes 1, 2, 3. So 3, 5, 6 is 1, 2, 3, and then it would be 4, 5. 1, 2, 3.
Again, we're looking at this from a 1-year vantage point, and if you don't know what your staff needs are for the next year,
That's why we rank that as a 2.
well, it says it's 4.
Well, based on what Doug said.
So why would you not do number 1 as 1? Assess it.
Well, I think you need to have your
That's what
succession
we had,
plan
is that was
first.
number 1.
And then you look at your existing staff and how that fits into your succession plan, and then you develop your career paths and
But-
your staff development.
But to make your succession plan, you have to look at staff, your existing staff and what your plan is. So that's
But
why,
if your succession plan includes a position that doesn't exist, then you would be reviewing that in your assessing your staff needs.
touche.
You make the case for any order you want.
That's why I picked it that way.
It's all organizational design. It's
They
looking
all
at
kind of
what-
go together.
looking at what you need
That's
for the
thing.
future,
Together is what they-
programming it
Yeah.
for budget, then looking at what the job description is, and then creating a succession plan and pipeline for training that.
So do we like the order that it's in or no?
Sure.
The thing that worries me about it is, you gotta have that annual, assess your annual staffing needs. I mean, I'm worried
That's the
that,
jumping
That's why that was
off point.
number 2 for me.
yeah.
That creates.
So here's a question on staffing, and it might be more resources, but we talked yesterday about preferred vendor lists, that type of, outsourcing. Do we need to have staff work on a internal versus external capability or external preferred vendor list?
You mean like when we hired somebody to
Can we legally do?
perform as the director?
Depends.
So as an example, if you have by department, here's the functions that we can do. X, Y, and Z. We can do this internally. If we needed to outsource, who would we outsource to? Do we have a list of preferred vendors to go to for concrete, or to go for, I don't know, just random stuff? And then do we have, Tetra Tech? Do we have our second and third, engineering options? Do we have, a second and third landscape vendor that we, so it's on a preferred list. And I think it's more important when we're looking at things that could impact bidding or quotes or things of that nature.
So Doug, I'll use the engineer, you have to bid that out because of the scope of the work. So that would have to be a competitive solicitation.
But
Now,
doesn't that, just not to interrupt, but doesn't that also depend on the amount?
no, because it's
Okay.
a professional engineer. We are required by statute to bid that out.
When the district manager position was open, Doug, we went to the outside world and got some temporary interim fill-in until we hired somebody.
Yeah, I guess my point is, if I look at it more from a strategic perspective, do we have a list of potential vendors that we could use for, just about anything that we do, regardless of whether we do it internally? And is there a way to create a preferred vendor list to help streamline the process of identifying or bidding or, fast tracking some of the things that we do in the event that we need to, whether it's we don't have the internal capability or we have internal constraints at that particular time? Just a thought.
Well, I'm asking, how is that different than what we did until we filled Chelsea's position? Isn't that exactly what we did?
Well, that's more of an intro. I'm not talking about.
We're
I'm not
talking,
talking about an internal staff need. I'm talking more about
Contractual.
an activity or action that from a utilities, public works.
Like when you have BJs,
In-
you
in
have
our-
the guys that you
in
don't
our
even
u-
call.
In our utility, in our emergency response plan, we have a list of vendors for different things, which we could utilize that, on a regular basis, like, who to call when we have work that we can't do internally.
So you do?
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, if we've got some, I'm just like an example. Like if we needed some welding, do we have a list of vetted preferred welders that we could?
We have informal lists that haven't been vetted through any committee. There are vendors out there that we go to, but is that a vetted rack and stack 1 through 5 based off their prices that are locked in on contract on a formal process? No. We have informal points of contact for secondary services.
Okay, just a thought. If it's an opportunity for us to true up a list, great. If you guys already have something and we don't think it'll streamline or make us more efficient, then we can just keep moving forward.
Okay, Chelsea, you know, leave staffing the way it is, you good with
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
All right, then let's go to human resources. Who's first? What do you got? What's number 1?
We have 1 as 1.
We had 1 as 1,
And we had 5 as 2.
and we had 5 as 2.
Oh, yay! What'd you guys have, Bill?
We didn't have anything,
You
so we'll
didn't,
go with that.
you didn't do that?
Where, hey, Laura, where's the performance management platform, or, you know, reviewing our internal HRIS system that we've kind of been talking about? Because we have gaps today in our ability to facilitate HR process functions.
That didn't make the cut. It's not on there.
Wait, okay, well, that needs to be added,
I'll-
because if we don't have a,
That's a low priority for this next year.
I'm sorry?
For me, that's a low priority for this next year. I got.
How could how could documenting performance management and evaluating that, tying it to merit and bonuses be a low priority?
We already have a system to do that. As far as looking for something different, it's a low priority on my list.
What do you want to call it, Doug?
Let's call it maybe performance management.
If we're gonna do it, it's
System.
gonna need to be a whole HRIS thing, because I don't wanna have one system for reviews, one system for payroll, one system for hiring. It needs to be everything. It needs to be all.
Of course, I mean, yeah, that's how it normally works.
Have the bandwidth this next year to dedicate to that.
I mean, my point on this, and maybe the other board members don't know, is we've been using the same kind of performance management, like evaluation. It's just a spreadsheet. It does not truly identify employee performance. It doesn't tie it to goals and output. We don't have a system to do that. Right now, we do it on an Excel spreadsheet. It's not trackable. It's not historical. And if we're looking at improving our staff's capability and who we hire, we have to manage and document what their performance is, so we can tie it to career development, you know, merit increases, bonuses, benefits, all that stuff.
That's not a 100% true statement though, because we did everything in paychecks this year, so everything is documented and it's racked and stacked. Stacked, so ranked and stacked. So we have like net scores for everybody for everything in paychecks. So we have, it's not the most user-friendly system at this point, but it's not like we aren't doing that. So we did switch over and started using that.
Well, you agree there's an opportunity, because we had this discussion. It's not great.
Yeah, but respectfully.
But I'm
that's the
saying,
one
I
we're
don't
playing.
have the bandwidth to research an entirely new system this year. I have a lot on my plate, and of the things I have on my plate, that is a low priority.
All right, so we're gonna put that for FY26.
Well, but this is a 1-year plan, so.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
put it for, in the future, we'll put it on.
I mean, respectfully, I understand we need to do that, but I have a lot of big things on my plate this
What,
year.
so we have 1 and 2, what's number 3?
For us, it was 3,
3.
review job descriptions.
Just did.
And then 4, well, underneath it, we had 4. So
4.
ours went 1, 5, 3, 4, 2, 6.
Any thoughts from that, guys? The other 2 teams, does that look good to you?
Fine.
Fine. Fine, okay. Court area number 4.
We only picked 2 in this one.
Only give 1 and 2.
That's all we did.
3 was 1 and
8
8
was
was,
2.
yeah, 8 was
That's
2.
exactly what we had. 3 was 1, 8 was 2.
The rest I don't like, whatever.
How about you guys?
We had 8 and 7 were the same to us, and we ranked that as number 1. And number 3 was number 2.
Oh, that's pretty close,
Nice.
good.
Yeah,
So you thought that signs and billboards,
It was all public
The
out,
website, okay.
communication,
Yeah, all goes
ways of
together.
communicating.
well, 5 is the same as 7.
meeting banners.
Okay.
We only picked two, so
Nobody's gonna come anyways.
But boy, you don't tell them, you got a problem.
That's what we got a website for. Post it.
and we didn't rank those.
Put the word out that we're having hors d'oeuvres and cocktails at board meetings.
Happy hour.
That'll bring them.
I said I wanted a margarita
Open bar
machine.
and light snacks.
Yeah, I wanted a margarita machine.
At
for
the
my
end of the
kids,
meeting.
so.
Have to stay here to participate.
And you have to be here the whole time, you can't just.
Well, when you
Yeah.
get in, is
Oh,
when
yeah.
you get your chip, and you have to stay. You need
Yes,
to take-
yes, yeah, there you go.
Okay, the other thing on this was, GI, what,
Solves that problem.
GIS?
We didn't rank these.
We did 1 and 2.
Yeah,
As
just
one
like
and two.
whatever, yeah.
To me, that whole section could go away and could be captured underneath the asset management side of the house.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I agree.
okay. Well, Chelsea, I'm impressed with your Excel skills.
She's making me, I'm cringing.
I know.
She is.
It's the hard way.
'Cause you know you're gonna have
It takes
to-
so much longer.
you're
Why
gonna have
are
to
you
clean
doing
it up
like
later.
that?
No, it's cool.
All right, we
Rotate.
rotate.
Yep, okay, staff rotate two.
Come on, Laura.
Person.
Billy Carter.
We're gonna do number 5 and 6.
Carter's a pride.
Which one are we doing now?
5 and 6.
5 and 6? So we're gonna wrap it up.
One pond standard.
You do as a resident, Bill.
I'm a silent
I would
resident.
say.
I work here, you would not
Oh,
even
that's
know my
fiscal
name.
21, so they all go together.
Problems.
Okay, that's all the same thing. So then we have,
10,
Yeah.
we have
pond
develop
aeration. I
aeration,
don't,
master
I don't
aeration,
get
and then
that.
there's pond aeration.
2 and 10 are, why are they, they're the same?
So I would say aeration, master plan, maybe we do number
Oh,
one. And then number one,
you
maybe
need-
number two.
I think, so we already have the plan. We have a
Well,
number
I
of
mean,
projects and
is
priorities.
number one number one?
It was
But isn't that
set.
You have to store the stuff first, and then you do the aeration.
No, aeration.
I don't know what they're doing.
Develop aeration master plan for all ponds.
Oh,
I think if we wait,
That's-
Yeah,
develop
yeah.
ponds before we do aeration.
Right now, it's
that'll
just
help.
the
pond
I mean,
bank
that's a water,
restoration,
two
we're there,
different
what that
issues,
means.
water quality and
I-
then.
Your plan currently is being implemented.
So safety should probably go before quality.
Says done.
I
That's a
think the
simple thing.
aeration,
I don't know why
well,
it's
to get
on
the
here.
plan done, what did you guys actually?
So I think number 2's.
Number 2 will become number 1, and then number 1 is
I think point repairs
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
and all of
The
6,
rest of it,
7,
I think,
8,
it's
are
all
all
the
the
same.
same thing. Should be your, really.
And I think,
Doing stormwater, 1 and 2, will be 1 and 2.
There you go.
That's
Pond
what I
Yeah,
read.
aeration
because
is
they go
number
hand in
one,
hand,
and
because you
then
gotta add this in.
Yeah,
all
add
this
this,
pond
and
rehab.
do
Number
the
10 is
cleaning
the
and
same.
then-
To me,
yeah.
develop the aeration master plan's gotta be number 1.
And
And
that's
then
we
pond
should-
aeration would be 2 that you're doing. I guess that's what that is.
I would think they would.
Pond rehabs
These are
would
good.
be, number 9 would be
We gotta-
3.
What would make it easier is that there's not a gateway standard, Pelican standard, it's all one standard.
And that the board has the ability. to-
Pond bank
And
point
then the plan
repairs
is
would be.
first, and then it's just like, what's, you do the SOP.
Hard to
What
justify.
you see, these are
Yeah,
saying,
that's
this
actually.
is not a
Tell
sentence.
people what's going on.
Right.
Might be controversial.
Somewhere between
Well,
maintenance,
this one's pretty easy.
hours
this one's
for
one.
cleaning,
We
and
don't have a.
I think that.
And then this is all stuff that you guys.
Well, and we've
did.
already, well, probably.
Okay, so
that's on
the new
standard.
initiatives
I
are
don't
the
know
1,
why.
2, 3.
I don't know if I-
Yeah.
The gateway side.
Okay, it's like the line is right here.
Trying to get
Yeah,
that.
that's easy.
Get them
They call
inspected, get them inspected, get them, rehab, and then maintain them after
So you
that.
got like
Yeah,
2
actually,
is 1.
yeah, on your
Once
slide.
you got them done. We're not
Yeah,
there.
that's-
Yeah, really surprised.
Yeah.
Channel Stacey, that's
And
where-
Georgia did this.
And what's 3?
And then
Inspected.
number 9.
That was like way back here.
So when they turned it over.
Well,
we-
I guess
that's
my
what-
most important one is the
I don't know what about
is the assessment
I have no
methodology.
problem with it.
That was my number one.
And somebody can explain what those,
And then we
yeah,
should-
7 and 8, I don't understand what those are.
Right.
5 Stony Brook Road turnover.
Yeah, get rid of
Like I
that.
said,
To me, foundation area,
Maybe, I don't
number
know.
9 takes care of
I don't know, this one's on-
6, 7, and 8.
Develop SOP for conservation area.
I think 6, 7, and 8.
The landscape contract.
I would like to, number one, to
Right.
decide,
Even
Do you want to do
everybody knows what it's called.
the pond
I mean,
man.
Stony
I don't think
we have
Stony
a-
Brook
That's
is
the
gonna be
plan we
short.
get to the red, green, and yellow, we have been for years.
So we don't really.
The only thing would be is if we would change it, because
How it all works out. Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. So,
Well, that's Gateway as a whole.
so we're talking about it here.
So, but this is also Gateway, which again, that's,
All right,
that's up in here.
Cardinal
So
Ball,
those are
President's
duplicates.
Council.
So, 6 and 7 are
Number
already.
five.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
6 and 7 were addressed earlier.
Okay, we're done.
Two of these on there, the last one are already in there.
Constant,
So,
but we just
I don't really care about the rest.
get it.
Sounds really bad, but I'm sorry. I was gonna give this a
They
maybe the survey.
they're completed.
Yeah.
One and two are completed.
This,
I mean, why do we get this stuff? Why do we have this? If it's completed, what's it on there
But we kind of talked about that
for?
before.
Promote signing.
Like, these are redundant.
Doing
But
it.
Georgia did it.
Survey.
Streetlight conversion.
I'll clean it up.
What's the-
First
Add
time.
to my other list.
Like,
It's cold over here.
saying that.
It must be.
there's
bad.
Except for methodology.
Hey, they lost the
connected
reason.
to
She's
not-
been freezing the whole
I
time.
think you're missing one off your
No.
irrigation.
People don't belong
It's
in
cold
it,
here.
You know, it's not.
I know
Well,
that
that
speaker is like
explains a lot.
really
You're
loud.
sitting out
If you enter the community, put a sign, the do's and don'ts will be done with. Ignore it. Ignore it.
What's the number?
You don't want to do
one?
it.
Street lights is our.
I know.
Yeah,
A jacket and
and
another.
then we still have to do the design for the irrigation, so I think irrigation.
New initiative. Surveys.
You get to do something fun.
Doctor,
5 is 1.
2 tests.
I don't know why that's.
Mammogram and bone density.
Oh, yeah.
General sense.
No, it's at H1,
I couldn't do
H1
one.
Should fall into 2 categories.
The schedule this thing way out too.
I still think
About
if,
3 months.
if guys had to get mammograms, they would come up with a way better way to
Stream
do
light
it.
conversion is-
Yeah. It's that swoosh.
Yeah.
I think
But then put
the
your jump in
hardest
there and
was
see how you
that
like
the
it.
contract renewal.
The bone density is not.
And then
big,
hold
you
and don't
just
breathe.
lay- Yeah, I know.
You go
Keep
back
your
and
arm up like this and
Unless
turn
you
this
can
and put your
rubber
head
stamp
up
the
like
last
this.
contract.
Oh, but this one you just-
Yeah.
Or not.
Not
I just
now.
had mine in
So
August.
historic.
And you've got to
And then don't
revet the
breathe.
whole scope.
Yeah, don't breathe, hold your breath.
All of the
Okay, breathe.
amendments
Okay, now hold your breath. I'm like,
to the
oh,
contract,
seriously.
what you're looking for.
But the bone density is easy, you can just chill.
But that's the
I think
one
so.
that now requires.
Is that pretty fast?
It is.
I
Pretty
mean,
nice. Yeah, I had mine done, last week later. Later back.
Well, no, I haven't had one for 5
You broke
years.
it up into different
And they
portions.
put me on this,
You had like a
medicine.
one-time contract, you had
No,
a
for
trucking
old ladies.
contract, you had a design contract.
but I only take it once a
And then
week.
you had maintenance and services.
So,
kind of.
but you have to take it once a week for 5
One-time
years.
procurement.
So I think she wants
Construction
me to
type
do this so
contracts.
that she knows if,
Uh,
you know, we gotta change things or I don't need it anymore or what.
Yeah.
This, the test is not
Basically osteoporosis.
As a board member, since Chelsea's arrived in this lot. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's been a challenge. Success.
How are we doing? Are you guys, you guys done? Guys
This is
done?
all the same stuff. It's like,
Like,
I'll let you guys-
I'm done.
Oh, we're ready, Chelsea.
Half, I'm
All right,
burnt.
all
I'm the
right.
crispy, I'm the burnt
There we
ends
go.
at this point.
For area number 5, creativity and environmental challenge. Come on.
We had 2 and 1.
We
Number
have
1
number
was
two as
2
one.
and number 2 was 1.
Okay.
You took top ponds,
Yeah,
we had 2 is 1,
We had 2 as 1.
yep.
we had
And
10
one is
is
two.
2. And do the master plan, I'm hoping
just
that
figured it went
you
together.
implement it.
Yeah.
And we just assumed they went together, so we didn't rank that one.
Yeah, I dropped off 10,
And then-
figured it was covered in number 2.
And then
Yeah.
we had 9 is 3, which is the pond rehab, and number 5 is 4.
So
We only picked 2.
we
All the
had,
rest
we
are
had
all
a
the
total of
same.
3. Number 1 was the aeration, which is the same. Number 2 is, number 2 point is our number 1.
Okay.
The number 4 point provides signage, because it's so simple to do, was our number 2. And then the consensus on the uniform pond standards for all number 11 was 3.
What's the signage? Like there's gators? don't
This is
come?
pond number 4. This is
Oh,
pond number 5.
Okay.
Basically,
So it's some
asset
low-hanging
tagging
fruit.
it.
So
Yeah.
people know what they live on.
It's low hanging fruit.
It's a real simple thing to do, it's so beneficial. When people call it
Well, we looked at it for a 1-year span, and then we saw all the lake bank restorations. Obviously, it's important, but how much am I gonna be able to get done? It's gonna be dictated by weather.
Our biggest problem is our ponds are majority linear, and they're very difficult to put a sign where you can see it.
Oh, a lot of times they have more than one sign, yeah.
Yeah, they're very
So
difficult to see the
for
signs.
number one, we've already completed it. It's more of an implementation of it. So that this ties is these.
Yeah, that's why we didn't rank any of those.
Oh.
That's why we didn't rate number one.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe implement the pond bank restoration plan.
Yeah. that's
What I thought number
right.
9
Yeah.
was.
Okay.
Well, number one's an ongoing, I mean, that, the number one bullet point, I think never stops.
Yeah,
The only
somebody's
thing
gotta
that
do it
number
though.
one Would be to go back and reanalyze it to see if something
It's
changed.
failed or degraded.
Yeah.
Rinse
But
and
right
Yeah,
now,
it's
we've got
never
everything. What do we have? Red, green, and yellow, the colors?
So how about review? Yes,
And
and
we have the
orange, and
ponds
orange,
rated.
orange.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that.
No.
We have that too.
But I thought we're heading toward implementation of the ponds based upon that.
We are.
rating.
Yeah,
We have, and that's what you see as these.
but the original list was generated X number of years
Oh,
ago,
yeah.
and it's time to revisit.
Okay,
Well, we-
let's focus on this next year. All right.
All right.
Aeration definitely is one.
Yes, we agree on that.
All right. So
I'd like to have the standards standardized. So it's the same for everywhere. Yeah, the pond standards, right now we have some variation. Let's decide on
That's number
what's,
11.
it's either good for the community or it's not.
Well,
Let's
it's
decide.
got, but it's got to be in accordance with the,
No, it doesn't.
yeah, we got it.
No, it doesn't.
That's funded by like.
We set our standards and they're good standards.
No, we won't do that.
Well, I understand your point. I
Okay,
respect
let's
it.
look
Our
at what
people
Chelsea's
don't
got up
want
there and
them
see if we're
to
good. Let's look at what Chelsea's got up there and see if we're good with what she's doing.
On standards, I'll be good.
What's number 11?
to me, I mean, Bob, that I understand that's important, but we have 14 ponds to get constructed in the next year, in the next
That's
6
why
months.
it's number one.
No, that's, number one is the aeration master
Oh.
plan. What I suggest is, I mean, we've got FY '21 ponds. This would be 2, 3, 4, 5, because Pelican ponds are up there. And then from that point, you guys tell, that's my 2 cents on it.
Okay, how long, what resources are gonna be tied in to making number 11 a higher priority? It's gonna be a couple people,
Who are you envisioning?
whoever you've got on your pond staff, whoever made the last time.
You guys had a whole ponds committee, didn't you?
Yeah, but we never tried to make it standardized, because there were people over here that said you have to follow a DO. We do not have to follow a DO. We can set our own standards.
Well, you have to follow, you have to follow your DO at a minimum, but if you want to do above and beyond, we can do that.
We can enforce, if we so choose to do it, put littorals on all ponds.
Correct.
Okay, that's all, that's what I want reviewed. I want to take another look at that, and it's a small group that can do it, and then we will opine whether it's good or bad. There's nothing negative about doing that,
I don't disagree. I'm just from we got 1 year to look at this.
and this is a simple thing to do.
Would that be part of developing the aeration plan? And-
No.
No.
But wouldn't we have
No.
standards
No.
established for
No.
all of
Aeration would
it?
have its own
Wait,
SOP.
don't we have standards? I mean, isn't that?
Yes.
We have 2 standards. That's my whole point. We all have one.
We have gateway standards and then Pelican developed their own set.
Bob, I would like to do that.
If no one's gonna support it, Chelsea, I'll shut up.
No, no, no.
But it ought to be done.
I agree. I agree it needs to be done, but can we get through the assessment methodology first?
No, they're totally separate things.
I know, but from a staff perspective, we've got a lot of
It's
time.
not going to take a lot of staff time to do this. Why are we shying away from it? This is a
I'm-
simple thing.
Are you talking about just basically re-looking at the pond standards?
Yeah.
See you
I don't
tomorrow.
have any problem with re-looking at.
All right, what do you guys want to rank
I have
it?
a problem is changing them.
That's a separate
That's a
thing.
separate issue, yeah.
What do you guys want to rank it as?
I'd like it to be 3.
So you don't want to do FY '24 ponds?
24 is over.
No?
No, we're still working on those.
Well, the year physical, 24 is over.
That's just when they were designed.
That's, yeah.
So I didn't understand why those three were done.
Because they're not-
We've
they're
already
not
est-
done.
But I
It's
know
already done.
we've established, we have a system right now of which ones we're doing. They're all pond rehab.
Right.
Right,
Just, it's a single item, so to me,
6, 7, 8, 9
But
are all.
6, 7, 8, 9
They're all
are,
the same.
they're all the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's
I,
exactly what we did.
hold on, I do not agree with that, because this year we have 14 ponds. Next year, we could have 6 if we get caught up.
But the issue is we're following.
We got a plan.
We're following the plan.
Can't shut the
That's
door.
the issue. We've
Maybe
gotta-
we can't do the plan,
Can't
but
leave
we
the
got a
door
plan.
open.
I'm gonna make some noise out here for just a minute.
Oh, okay.
We've got a plan of which ones we're gonna do, we're just gonna implement
we
the
get
plan.
done.
Yeah, just implement the plan. I don't see why why aren't we changing? If we're gonna change the priority, then
Those
we need to
That's
go
different.
back and do the,
That's different.
redo the items.
I think they need to be listed out.
Well, okay, there's one of
They're
those.
not finished.
I don't think they do, Ed doesn't think they do.
Well, okay, what do you want to rank them as?
They're all the same.
I rank 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 as all 3.
You want pond standards as 2?
Yeah, I had the aeration, develop the aeration master plan as 1, and then the pond aeration 2.
Well, I thought that was the
We
same thing.
consider them as one.
So
I
we
put-
put that all as 1.
I put that all as the
Well,
same thing.
then I'd go back then and I'd put 6, 7, 8, 9 as 2, and what's number 9, or 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all the same.
Yeah,
Either make them all 2 or all 3.
I mean, the way I look at the ponds is each year we have a set of ponds that we're working on restoration. Now, in some cases, some of those ponds might get pushed to the next year, but there's still pond restoration.
Right.
So each physical year, if we have pond restoration projects in play, regardless of the number, it's still, we still have to execute on that priority.
Yeah, why would you have a plan to do them in 21, 24, 25, and then shift them around?
no,
Now, I think what Chelsea is saying is if in year 2024, if there are 3 ponds that don't get done because of whatever reason, and they shift to 2025, that's a carryover. Or if they're still in flight, I think what we amend 2025 to say we have 6 ponds that we have to start, 3 ponds we have to finish, and then we have to plan for year 2026.
Well, then you can make them 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 4, 5.
And that's exactly
Yes,
what we
yes,
do,
yes.
because if the weather doesn't allow us to make the pond.
We just move 'em back.
We move what the slides till we can do it.
okay, but this all goes back to staff time. So we'll have 14 ponds on the docket in the matter of 4 months, which will consume Daniel's time.
And mine. 'Cause I
Not as
can't
much,
stop.
But that-
but yes, okay, so.
But see,
we wrap-
there's a priority, and then there's resourcing and execution. So we have the priority there. It's, part of staff's responsibility to come back and say, here's how we sequence, this is the resourcing, this is the budget. But the priority is the same. Now, we might shift on size and scale based on budgeting or resource availability or vendor concerns, but I don't think that changes the priority. It could shift execution. And if you say that we have pond restoration project as a priority, however, we need to revisit because of resources, then that's something we need to talk about. But from a strategic planning, I don't think we shift from a priority perspective, because the devil's in the tactical details when it comes to budgeting, resources, and weather and whatever else. If that makes sense.
All right, I have the rankings up here. Is this how you want them?
Yep.
All good? All right. B, stormwater cleaning and maintenance.
1 and 2 or 1 and 2?
1
Yep.
and 2.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, that
so we
one's
got
easy.
1 and 2 is 1 and 2.
Yay. Conservation areas.
We did
1
1,
and 2 are
3.
done, so number 3's got to be number 1.
Number 3 was our number 1.
That's the only one left.
And it's easy with the SOP because we're mandating what we do.
Well, isn't there a priority now within, Daniel, the issue we're having around whether that area behind the soccer field is some type of,
It's Is it legitimately a conservation area or what?
Or is it because of timber or whatever flooding us?
Or for
Or
drainage?
is it because
Yeah.
Timber Creek is
Timber-
making it
Yeah.
that?
But they're designated, we didn't designate conservation areas, they're there.
It's not platted as a conservation
Right,
area.
so therefore it is not.
So, well, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. My point is that something is wrong with an elevation
Correct.
over there
Or
that's
drainage.
allowing that water to come this way.
Yes. So we need to investigate that and remedy it.
South Florida's on it.
But just because water collects there doesn't magically become a conservation area or a wetland.
So, something's fishy,
Is that
royally
something the
fishy.
county has to do, or is that
No.
something you all do?
The master plan for all of Gateway shows that water basically going south and crossing and sheet flowing across the FPL
Yeah.
into the, what do we call it, Worthington property. That's how it comes into our system. It does not come west. And it is coming west. So that tells me that there's an elevation.
There's a problem.
There's an
Or there's
elevation
pipes that
problem.
are missing that
Oh,
are
yeah.
supposed to be there.
Do
So
what?
there's supposed to be some drainage pipes underneath, and we don't know if they're actually there. So they're-
And if they're not there, that
They're
won't be the
just
structure.
Drain pipes.
Or if they're clear
All right.
from Timber Creek.
Sense of pride.
We'll talk about it. We didn't do,
Or they could be blocked.
Okay, sense of
One is
pride.
one.
one is one,
Thank you.
We only
Captain
agreed
Obvious.
on one,
and
yeah.
then we did assessment methodology as one.
One, we agree. Stony Brook Road turnover, 2.
Yep.
Hold on.
FPL, streetlight, 3. And landscape contract, 4.
Okay, we did item 7, the streetlights as the number 1.
Well, that's already, 6 and
Because
7 are in
it's-
another, but they're in another place in the plan already. Those
That's
are-
what
You put it in here, you put it here, there's an
Wait,
interaction.
hold on, guys, just a little lost here, I'm a little lost.
Item 7, FPL streetlight was our number 1.
That's already elsewhere. in the-
6 and
Okay,
7
then
are already
again,
in there.
Then it shouldn't have been here, you put it in front of me, that's how I react. Item 8, assessment methodology would then become our number 1.
Okay,
And irrigation is our number 3, it's not on here, but it should.
Irrigation was covered in a different area.
Okay, then.
so, okay, is that what you guys did,
We did assessment methodology, Stony Brook Road turnover, and then the surveys were third for us.
I don't have a problem with studying, but it's gonna never be high, that's good.
Bill and Ed, what you guys have?
Shut up.
We did number 8 as number 1,
Yep, same
number
with
5
us.
is number 2.
Yep. And then we did number 1 as number 3.
I certainly think so, yes.
We did surveys as 3.
Yeah.
FPL's in there already, that's a duplicate, same with FGUA, that one's already in there too. 6 and 7 are duplicate.
Did we put FGUA interconnect up
Yes.
above? I don't recall seeing
It
it.
is on,
It's in there, but even at that, it's not a priority for us.
It's
a
under
priority
water.
for them. It's the
Under
water that
2.
happens.
it's under core area 2, item 5.
We're not
water.
going to get water out of that.
We're getting money.
That's why.
So,
Did we add your generator up above?
That was in there. Oh wait, the generator wasn't in there?
No.
No. I would
for the
go,
irrigation. That would go, like,
No, we
this.
deleted irrigation earlier. No. Where did when is irrigation down here? No.
No, since the other 3 board members are here, we're moving through this.
I'm sorry?
Since the other 3 aren't here, we're moving right along, we're doing good.
That's all.
Son's working, he's working.
We're just letting
Let me check.
Chelsea's catching up with us here. Just give her a second, she's updating, so yeah.
I'll have to go redo everything later. Cause I have all the town in the world for that.
Shut your mouth.
No.
We did this.
I like when you're finished, you send it to me, and then I can't print it.
It's not planned.
Right?
I do it on purpose. Everybody else,
She goes in and
everybody
changes
else's
it.
copy works, but yours never. That
It
doesn't.
doesn't.
Did you guys rank any of
No.
these?
We don't have that list. I don't have that list. Do you guys have that list, new initiatives? I don't have
No.
Ours only goes through 9 items,
Go to number 6.
it. I found it.
6B.
She.
It looks different, but I've got it. It
Yeah,
starts
we didn't
with
have all that stuff underneath there, that didn't print on ours.
surveys and polls to staff and residents.
Yeah.
Print.
I didn't print it, I didn't create the sheet either, so. Can't blame me for that one.
Laura,
Nope.
much as Polly, I didn't,
Nope, I had nothing to do with that.
I did nothing.
Yep.
Well, let's let Chelsea walk us through this then.
They're all priorities, because we outlined them yesterday as priorities. They're all priority
Oh,
ones.
Okay, but I think what she's doing right now, she's trying to fit it back into the plan to see if they fit. Is that right, Chelsea?
Yeah.
Let's just give her a second to do that.
Another break?
Yeah, take a break, take a break, take a break. Get something to drink.
Lift station.
And you know they got the stakes, and you know they got the stakes.
Alright.
I'm gonna redo it all anyway.
I don't know what it is.
You and I are on the same page. That dropped the flag. What are we doing?
Because they started dropping, this is a safety issue.
That determination, it's aesthetics. I don't want to fall into that trap.
I don't want to be pressure washing sidewalks, so.
So you got a full mark off of that, okay?
Okay.
As long as it was a mistake, that's great. Where do you
No,
go?
I don't want to burn manpower hours
No,
over
I mean,
there
and
doing
that's their
something outside of.
responsibility. I also sent you a video of a swirling a solo tree line.
Oh, yeah?
So the truck followed by a guy with like a lawnmower. He was just doing sidewalk, but it really was slick. So I sent the video to you. Chelsea,
No, I didn't get it.
okay,
When did you send it?
yesterday.
I didn't get it. Bill?
Guess it would help if I dug my phone out of my Jeep.
That would be beneficial.
It's sitting in the center console bowl.
Ah, son of a beach.
Here. This one and this one.
Oh, that's a handheld, yeah.
I don't even know what company it was,
I've seen those.
but I had not. But that's pretty slick. That's kind of what I thought we were gonna be.
The
The one guy in the truck with the water reservoirs.
It's all right, yeah.
It's all right.
I'd go to saucy meatball.
I've seen those before.
I like, I don't know, it's more
Magic
expensive.
bubbles.
The taverns,
It makes me
It's
wonder why we got what we got.
overpriced.
I know you didn't.
I think Saucy Meatball's overpriced too. It's fine.
Why'd you kidnap Carol?
So that's the one spot.
I like saucy. Over in Beach, Chef Word.
I like eating at Sicily Trattoria, so I'm like super spoiled by that.
We must have
So much
bored
better.
the PPCA rep because he didn't stay long.
he said he had a, something
Yeah,
else to-
leave it at 10.
Well, it's 10 now. He left an hour and a half early.
We went more than anybody else did, though. Or any of the other HOAs.
That's true. We do get participation.
I don't know what rules update mean.
Rule 6 update. That was? Where are your sticky notes? Or the big,
Georgia has them. Water.
Shimmy.
Doritos Speed Hump.
we had landscape contracts in there. That's in a different place.
Where?
It is, I just looked at it. I've never seen it someplace.
Put it under landscape. Should this really be under sense of pride?
No, I think it just got stuck there.
I feel like you should take your Park and Rec stuff from the very first one and drop it in Sense and Pride. Your marketing, your communication, and all your Parks and Rec stuff into that one. Move all the initiatives
And the
out.
quality of life,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Well, actually, it was more into this last. Monuments were, they were in here, we ranked them. They're under community improvements, it's refresh entrance monuments.
Yeah, monuments were there.
So that was on, under core area 2, under landscape, so that's already on there.
Technology infrastructure?
I don't even know where that would go. And how deep are we going on that? Are you talking just like new computers? Are we looking
I
at
don't know.
utilities? Are we looking at, I don't
What's it
know,
called?
technology infrastructure? I'm like, I just got us a new server, so we're all good. I'm looking at updating everybody's computers.
Who brought up technology?
I think that was good.
I think, yeah, it wasn't any of us, it wasn't staff. I built that into my budget for this year. Well, it's like, it depends, I mean, are you looking at how deep are you looking at the AMI infrastructure? Are you looking at, are you looking at SCADA? Are you looking at staff technology? Are you, I don't know what
The Denver
technology
one?
it is.
Uh-huh.
Is he there? 'Cause
He's here, I don't know if he's
maybe he
listening.
was talking about HR.
No.
Do you guys need me?
Yeah.
Are you asking me something?
Yeah, technology infrastructure that you wrote down yesterday? What was that for?
Yeah, I was just looking at our technology platform, just to make sure that we're leveraging it appropriately. I talked to Daniel a little bit about this. It's like leveraging SharePoint and Teams and all that stuff to maximize the efficiency.
Okay,
You know,
internal, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, it's internal.
So you're not talking like physical technology?
Well, I mean, just technology and yes, so more platform capability.
Technology
and-
platform is what I would put after it then, Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, even like from a board perspective, our ability to have quick access to shared folders, to see documents, to see project plans, to see all that stuff, and we all have iPads. We should have the ability to go into folders, and when we do some of that, but just
Yeah. Just nobody does, but it's already there.
yeah. Well, and that's where we probably need to implement some board training on technology, utilization. Even the technology we use for board meetings, are we using the best platform for that? There's some really good systems out there for meeting management technology.
We are being responsible with public funds as far as what we're using. We could go nuts with some of those platforms, but they're not cost effective.
Well, I mean, when we talk about resident engagement, if it's easier to access meetings, if it's clear to see what we're talking about, meeting reviews, summary of meetings, all that stuff is just something we should be looking at.
Yep, I know Randy's been doing a good job with the meeting summaries, sending those out and posting, this is what happened at the meeting.
And here's so if you record a meeting through Teams, you when you record it, you can get a transcript.
You should see the transcripts. If you want some lighthearted reading, we will share the transcripts with you. They're hilarious.
Yeah, Zoom has this new AI feature that does a summary of the meeting and gives you like action items.
Well, Carol, or whoever said that. There's all kinds of AI summary tools for meetings, and it'll take out.
Yeah,
But anyway,
you can't count on them.
No,
You can't.
they're especially because everybody talks over
I won't
everybody.
send them to my clients because they
No.
mix up names and things like that.
Yeah.
It would take me
Some
so
of the-
much time to
the
review.
yeah, I use it every day. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use it internally, but I wouldn't
All right.
print that out. in
I'm
there.
ready when you are.
You ready?
I'm done.
Who are we waiting on? Daniel? You can go.
Okay, so those are your new initiatives. Did you put those up? Are all those under sense of pride? Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, I don't think they should fall there. I think these are just new, we just throw them in new initiatives.
Okay, do you want to try to identify where they go? Oh, I thought we did surveys and polls.
We did. But that's where we talked about it. That's where it is on our list. It was under here.
So, I mean, the surveys and polls, we should have weekly polls going out on Facebook there's so many things we could be polling residents on. Even if we don't get, 10 or 20%, but at least we're asking residents for input on, amenities, or are they aware of certain things? And we know we talked yesterday about, our goals, aligning, some surveys to that. So, I mean, we do some, but I think, we should be doing so much more.
That should all get moved under PR. Under 4, transparency.
Well, I guess I need to go back and get my elephant back in here, because the one thing I haven't heard is anything about this big change that we're anticipating in the next year with this, the elimination.
Well, that's the-
You told us to put our blinders on and
Yep.
not focus on
But that's gonna, the assessment methodology is gonna determine that.
Oh, the assessment
Yes.
methodology will
Yes.
determine that? Oh, okay, so that'll take care of.
If it
all the-
happens, how much it'll be.
Okay,
Yep,
okay, I
that's-
didn't
that'll all
understand
get
that's where.
Who's
determined.
impacted positively, negatively?
Okay.
Yep, that'll all happen with the assessment
Oh,
methodology.
okay, and that's what you guys are meeting on later
That's
this
my
week? I
main
got it,
focus,
okay.
yeah.
I didn't
for
get
this
that.
next year.
We
Well,
have an
there's
hour
other things.
scheduled.
I was a little worried you were being too long.
Oh, no, that's my baby this next year.
Yeah, I mean,
To your personal well.
My
Done, we can hear you.
implementation and everything else.
a lot of questions around that.
No, actually, I'm actually geeking out about.
So
the
is there
assessment
anything
methodology.
else that you guys didn't see on there, just thinking off the top of your head? Did we miss any of the initiatives that we're working on? Anything else that you think needs to be added?
Chelsea's top 3 goals are all on there, so.
I'm just
We didn't
asking now.
include roadways on community improvement and maintenance. I'm just trying to, where would we plug in the Stony Brook roadway conveyance?
It's in
It
there
was on
somewhere.
there. It was
It's
on there.
at the very bottom, under new initiatives, but I need to put it under one of our core areas.
Personally, it'd be my quality of life.
Quality of life.
Community improvements and
Daniel's
maintenance.
quality. of
Yeah.
life.
Also communication, I guess. We can fit there too.
Right, the-
Under what?
Opinion-
Roadways? Add another
That issue.
roadways
Hey, you've only
category?
been back 3 days.
Yeah, I would put under community improvements and maintenance and add roadways as an F.
But maybe the roadway,
What?
getting Stony Brook's
I'm trying.
road out of the district.
They can have it back if they want it.
AG to
The
it.
problem is that they like to flip flop back and forth about what they actually want as a
Can't
committee.
give it to, the county would help us if they just take it 30 seconds and transfer it over, it'd be done.
But Cecil doesn't have a.
All right, where do we want the assessment methodology update to go?
Financials, number
Yeah.
3.
This is city of Fort Myers, will be more acceptable.
Ask your girl Darla. Under what? Financials?
Under what though? Asset management? I don't know. Doesn't really fit in there, you know.
Make a new category, miscellaneous?
Sure.
No point in doing it. No point in doing it.
Fees and taxes.
We want to be unrestricted.
Start calling her the sheriff of Nottingham.
That's internal.
I'm gonna be Caesar.
Talking a lot of,
It's
talking a
talking
lot
some
of crap
smack.
underneath my mouth,
I'm gonna be Caesar.
giving Chelsea a hard time like per usual.
Ned, thanks for taking time to go through and read all of this with us. We appreciate it. You know, I thought it was important that the board be involved in this and see what else on this list. So thanks for taking the time. I know it's it is a chore. Understanding everything that's being worked on.
What's next, boss?
A lot.
It's either this or play golf or tennis, go with the hell.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Oh, you know you wanna go play pickleball?
I do play pickleball.
Do we have a pickleball?
I can't believe how busy the Pelican.
Pelican does.
It would be part of the
Pickleball
Hunters
courts
Park.
are.
plan.
Haley's.
Pelican does and Gator Green does.
Oh.
So do we want to keep presidential council under sense of pride among all? Or is that more under communication?
Transparency, communication.
I mean, we have this in here, but I don't know that
It has
president,
not ever risen to its potential.
Well, the thing I understand is that the idea is to keep them informed so that they can keep their owners informed. They aren't doing it.
No,
I'd move it under
And most of it is
4A.
because the CAMs won't do anything.
well, we don't use the cams at all in Pelican. I mean, the presidents actually show up. We get probably 60 to 80% depending on time of the year. And our president's Trump, and they have a formal agenda, and they bring things up all the time. I mean, it's an active working group. We haven't been able to foster that over here.
Well, but our HOA, we've got everybody's email address. Trouble is, they won't read the stuff. And then they call and complain. I didn't
So
know that
here's,
I did not pay my bill.
I don't know if this would help. We talked about two things yesterday. One is validating the existing list and doing that on a regular basis. Two, the engagement. I know we have it. We had that meeting at like, I don't know, 5 o'clock on a Thursday, whatever.
Right.
Would it be better for us to have the President's Council meeting in place of like a workshop? We do it prior to an actual board meeting, so we get people in, on site, and hopefully they stay for the board meeting afterwards. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out.
Does too many of them work?
Chelsea, that saves automatically.
it says read only.
I mean, they probably do, Ed. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a poll that we can survey when's a better time for them to engage. But if we don't have good participation there, it really hinders us in getting the message out.
Well, it's a lost opportunity, but you're right.
For sure.
I'd like to know how many of them have had their CAMs send out any report of what we're doing to their owners. If it just goes to them, the president or the vice president or chairman, or whatever you call it, if they're the only person that is learning this and not sharing it, it's a waste of time.
We send it to the CAMs
It's a
too.
waste, huh?
Our list goes to the CAMs and the
I don't
HOA
think- Yeah, they
president.
don't want to do it. Almost every CAM in this community
Oh, yeah, I
are
know.
portfolio CAMs, which means they don't do squat.
No, and our cams don't even come to the president's meeting and talk. It's the president.
I said it's not like we're from lack of effort on our part.
I agree with that. I agree. We just can't get them engaged.
Yeah.
Either they don't see value in it, we're not giving them what they want to
They
hear.
don't see value in it.
Yeah, we're just.
They don't,
wasting
the
their
CAMs
time.
don't care.
No, they
Oh,
can't.
cams don't.
Cams mean nothing.
CAMs don't give a damn.
All
No.
they wants to check.
And they want to play tennis and pickleball.
No, the cams are working people.
Well, they have been. Okay, so how are we going to talk?
I'm ready, I'm done.
So we don't have anything under sense of pride. I guess I just want to ask Bill real quick, because you were very eloquent yesterday in what you talked about and that we need to have that as a core area. But can you think of anything that we're not doing that we should put on this list that we should be doing to help with that? Because I'm thinking it's a natural part, like it
You're
starts
talking
with.
to me?
Yeah.
I think, I mean,
Something with orientation and, I mean, like, what do you?
Like I said, that just falls into the work that we do.
right,
I
I think
mean,
that's like the
I
overarching
think that-
goal of all
Yeah.
the
As we
other.
do the last-
that's the end
that
result
just
of
happens.
what we
Yeah.
do. I mean,
One
I
item
agree.
that we haven't discussed, haven't said a word about it, it's not on this anywhere, and it is probably the number one pet peeve of everybody in the community. Speeding, the roads. It's a joke, absolute joke. You go out
So
there,
that's public safety, Ed, so we should probably have a section around public safety.
that's just, our problem is that what do you do when the cops don't want to do anything? They want to go out there and they want to give them a warning when they're doing 75 mile an hour in a 35 zone.
And Ed, before we transfer, just really quick on the pride piece, I think that just comes through, like part of the survey, like annually, we have a question, do you have pride in your community? So there's a measurement there that we could leverage.
Chelsea, that should be, city of Fort Myers too, because we have the same problem. With speeding.
One way to do it is we just, what do we got in the budget right now? 200,000?
No,
We,
100,000?
we
we
cut
knocked
it back.
that way
Did
back.
we walk it,
Oh, yeah.
back?
Yeah.
Well, we eliminated it in Gateway.
There's no
We
need.
asked them for copies of reports, they won't give them to us. They
We
won't
do
tell,
get
they will not
reports.
tell us what they're doing.
Oh,
The
we get it.
CSO won't do it.
Yeah, it's required for us, we did it, when we were doing it.
Yeah,
were
we
getting
get it, and we pay them, and we've increased our budget.
So we,
But it doesn't, they
we were
stop.
at 25,000, we went to 10,000, we now went to 0. It's not gonna
Well, I think
happen.
we need to, so Ed, we need to quantify the problem. I think the roundabout definitely helps speeding on Gateway Boulevard, at least in the area where it was a problem in front of 7-Eleven.
Oh,
But
no.
now the problem is from the roundabout to 82 and from Daniels to the roundabout and then down Griffin.
Doug, we did a deal in Gateway that we talked about it and we finally did it.
Yeah,
We got speed traps, we got machines, devices that measure speed limit. Well, we've been putting them up opposing directions. We put one up at one intersection, and then we went down the road and put another one up on the same deal. 27 people in a 2-hour period speeding.
Well, shouldn't DOT, so Ed, you probably have experience with this, and probably Bob, you too. But doesn't DOT have the capability to do a traffic assessment to understand, so we need to quantify, is speeding a problem? There's a perception, and we could probably say it's backed up by, historical fact, but can we engage the county and the city to say, we believe we have a problem, we believe that it is contributing to public safety issues, we need some type of speed study to understand the significance or the severity of the problem so we can implement countermeasures.
There's a problem with speed studies. You do a speed study, and if you do it correctly, theoretically, the speed limit is to be set at 85% of the average speed. Coming out, because you do it on Gateway Greens or on Gateway Boulevard,
Be 55.
that 35 would be 50 mile an
Well,
hour.
if the speed limit is 25, they won't even look at anybody that's doing less than 35. They won't even look at it. I mean, that's the range of,
State statutes 8 mile an hour over.
but they, I agree.
Well, but you also have to look at too, I mean, where we have to tie this into is public safety. So people can speed all day long. If there's no negative impact of that, then you really don't have a problem other than people are speeding. If there are accidents and there are public safety issues, concerns, especially our concern is with community residents and schools, there poses a potential risk. And I don't want to have someone hit by a car, by a kid crossing the road, for us to shine a light on this problem. So we just need to figure out how we can quantify it, how we can truly understand the severity of the problem. Then you can get, the county and the city to really take action. If we go to them with data, or they assist us with capturing the data, to say this is the problem, this is the severity, this is the potential risk that it poses.
Well, what would be nice is they've got that machine, in fact, we had it and it broke or
We
something.
have
we
our,
never fixed it.
Pelican has one too.
Put the damn thing out there and let people see what the speed is. Put it down there right about the entrance to Hampton Park. That's where the speed's at, right through that
We
area.
can't get people to stop at stop signs.
Well, we got the same problem.
That's the bigger issue.
Yeah.
The roads aren't a lot of road speeding. There's stop, but stop signs. I'm sorry?
I said, have you seen Laura?
She got a California style.
Okay, we did capture that, on the plan to look at that under safety.
This is one that's been talked at Ed's point for years, nothing ever changes.
I can tell you that the community definitely knew when we stopped the patrol.
There's not much we can
Because
do.
I drive in every day and,
know.
the speed limit went up drastically coming down Gateway Boulevard once they stopped sitting out there.
So Chelsea, can we get a meeting with Angelo, not in the board meeting, but can you and maybe, one of the board members, maybe it's Flavia, meet with Angelo and just say, look, we feel like there's a problem here. We need some help from Lee County Sheriff's Office to figure out, one, how do we measure severity? And then what should we put in place, to help mitigate the speeding and the public safety issue?
Yep.
Okay, so then we want the sense of pride and, an employee satisfaction survey is something that's in the works. We're gonna put that there because that's a question we can ask there to measure that, do you feel proud to work, for.
And that's also, so it's employee and it's also community. So there should, we should.
That would be
We
part
had
of
a
that.
community one on there already.
Yeah, we have a survey. We need to make sure to include that on the survey though.
And here's the thing too with the survey. So what we're looking for is an annual measurement. So from a survey perspective, we should be collecting data from beginning of fiscal year to end of fiscal year. So what I mean by that is that survey stays open. It could be on the website. It's a quick question. Maybe it's 3 questions and it's open all year round. And at the end of the year, then we tabulate. So it's not like we need to capture it within 30, 60 days. Like literally, it can be open for the duration for the residents. It can be open for the duration of, the year in order to drive numbers. And we publish it on Facebook. We make sure you don't have, you can't, take it twice. It'll measure from your email address or IP or something like that. But that's not something we can measure. And we can do it over time because we just want what's the annual resident satisfaction or pride or community belonging or whatever we call it. But that's something we can keep open from a resident's perspective.
There's free survey tools. SurveyMonkey is a really
Yeah,
good.
we use all those for sure.
Okay, do we have it? Anything else? The staff members that are here, do you feel like we've captured everything that's on your list for the next year? Sorry.
And some.
If based on what we've got and the numbers that we have, where's the deficiencies we have in staffing that we need to really direct our attention?
Utilities,
Yep.
Where?
utilities. But we're quantifying that. We're working on
What kind of people?
field staff. We're working on quantifying it, like, as an example, Bill and Austin did an analysis on how many valves that we need to exercise per day and how long it takes to do those. We have to do about 13 valves a day. And, so, those larger ones, you need 2 people on. So we're trying to quantify that with, how long does it typically take to do different sizes, and then, do we,
What's the priority for which valves we're doing?
the mains.
Well, I understand that we've got tons and tons and tons of valves. There are critical valves and then there are not so critical valves. The ones that are the critical valves, so we got those identified and those are where we're directing our attention first?
We're working towards that, yes.
Because we.
Yeah, the one thing here when it comes to staffing,
Where we have a shut off or a mandatory shut off,
Yeah.
we try to limit it to what, 200-300 homes?
Yeah,
If not less.
really, they're all critical.
Well, yeah, but common sense, we've got valves out there, I'll bet have never had human hands touch them.
Yep.
yeah.
So
Well,
we-
my point when it comes to staffing is this. Even through this exercise, I've heard several times mentioned staff priority, staff priority, staff priority. And one of the things this board has, I think, never had an issue with is approving budget for staff. So we should very rarely have an issue where Chelsea, you, Laura, Daniel, Bill come back and say, we don't have the staff to complete our priorities, because we have always approved, or at least the majority of the time, we've always approved headcount for staff. So we need, me personally, I really need staff to look at their headcount, look at the priorities, and make sure this board is aware of where we have staff deficiencies. Now, it's one thing if we can't hire them, but the solve for that is in our environment, especially in utilities and public works, you're going to have probably 30 on maybe 30% attrition with new hires. So we were going to have to hire 5 utility people in order to maintain 3 over a 12-month span. So you always have to be hiring utilities. And I think you guys do this, and I'm not saying you're not doing it, but I'm saying staffing plan is absolutely critical with the amount of work that we've got going on. And if we can't manage it internally, then we have to be outsourcing that. So we should never be in a board meeting and the reason that we can't get something done is from staffing issues, because we've always been able to approve headcount for that if it's justified.
Doug, it's not necessarily it's not necessarily a staffing issue, and yes, we will quantify anytime that we ask for additional staff, but it's a matter of, I'll be frank, I've got Bob saying I want easements done now, and I've got, Ed saying, well, we've got these valves over here that need to be done, and Flavia's telling me we've got 17 things of landscaping that's broken, and then you call in and say the soccer fields are messed up, and we're literally triaging complaints. We're reactive, and I've said that. This is the second day in a row I've said that. But
then that is a staff. From your perspective, what I'm hearing is from your perspective, it's a priority issue. From our perspective, it's a staffing issue because you don't have the amount of people to do competing priorities. That's why when Ed was saying earlier, these are all ones. Yeah, they are all ones. And we don't do things in a stack rank perspective most of the time. We do things in parallel concurrently. So we need to maybe look at our execution methodology to say, how are we able to, and we do this today, so I'm not saying we don't. How do we maintain parallel progress in multiple priorities? And we either outsource or we do it internally. And we might be where we need to be, but if there's staff, especially in the area that you're talking about, these are hourly, most of these are hourly, non-exempt employees. So that's lower cost budget for us. Hire 5 people, have, don't operate at 120% capacity, operate at 80% capacity, because you're always going to have an additional 20 of unforeseen activities. And that might even be 40% unforeseen activities with competing priorities. So that's where I'm saying stress the staffing plan, make sure you're not at par, but you're always operating with 20 to 30% capacity with your staff, especially in critical areas like utilities and public works.
Well, let me ask you all, do you guys feel like we didn't accomplish anything that we set out to accomplish in the last year? Board members, do you feel like we didn't accomplish any, like we had a goal and we didn't meet that goal?
No, we got to.
Some of the things that, I think we did, but most of them were driven by a legitimate excuse, weather, which killed us on ponds. But the thing I was trying to get back to is, do we have a need right now? Because we've talked about pond aeration now for at least 4 years and done nothing. Nothing. And that's a deal that for the most part.
Yeah, we've done some.
We haven't got one freaking aerator in Gateway.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have.
No, here's the metric. It's not. It's completing on time, on budget, high quality. I think we complete projects. I think where we have an issue, and it's not just with staff, I think it's with our vendors and there's external influences, is timing consideration. We have to do things faster so we can do more things.
Well, my question, I guess for Chelsea and Bill, is how much time is wasted still fooling with the meter problem? If we had good meters, do we still need the same resources we have now?
We have 3 dedicated staff, and we've increased our meter readers to help accommodate that. But it goes back to we can't get the damn parts in time, and we've got more. I mean,
but it's still related to the gender problem. I want to get beyond that.
That's a whole separate. We've got a whole staff dedicated to that. We're good. It's the actual field staff. I mean, we were in Gateway Greens for 2.5-3 days. Doing that repair. I mean, and these guys, they harp on me, and I get it, but, we don't have the luxury of okay, you're going to do irrigation only, and you're only going to do, for us, it's, I guess my point in all of this, we're going to get it done. It might not be to the speed that you guys like, but it's going to get done. Now, on the utility side, Bill has told me, hey, we're short-staffed. I know that, but until we
got advertisement outs for people?
We have one more vacancy to fill, but
is that, do we need 1 or do we need 2?
We needed two, we
Well-
hired one.
Do what?
We hired one.
We're working.
If we need two, we need three because of attrition and fallout, and what the skill set you're talking about is not just one dimensional. To your point, Chelsea, we have to hire people that have multiple skills. If they don't, we have to teach them and coach them in the areas that they're deficient. So that's what I'm saying. We always have to overhire. We always have to be hiring. And I'm not saying we're not doing it. I'm saying, but that should be our philosophy, is that we should always be hiring to a 80% operational level instead of managing at 120%.
Well, Bill, at that break a while ago, Bill and I were talking about this deal with the valve exercising. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of work there to be done. One hell of a lot of work.
We talked about contracting that out. Austin got a price to contract it out. We're talking hundreds of thousands of
I
dollars.
know it. That's why I'm saying, hire the bodies. Hire the bodies before we go and, because
Well,
that is exactly what you're gonna do. You're gonna pay a fortune for that.
but you have to understand too, is, you know, if we get somebody green as a gourd coming in, these guys are gonna have to train them up.
You're gonna-
It takes
that's-
time.
That's part of it. There's nothing you can do about that. The only other thing you can do is that you have to be in a position to be a place where people want to come and work because of money or whatever.
I'm not
And
saying,
we're not gonna win
I'm
that
not
battle.
saying we're not getting stuff done because we're short-staffed. I'm just saying these last 2 days have helped prioritize things and give us a clear direction on what you see to move forward.
But the fact is though that we are short-staffed and things aren't getting done. We need to get those battles done.
They're not getting done in the timeliness that
We all
we
want.
would like it to be done.
Yeah, it's just about driving efficiency.
It's not-
And
it didn't get
we're
done.
not saying that staff's not doing a good job. That's not what we're saying.
Many, many years ago, we just didn't do it. So we're playing catch-up.
I mean, valves should be done every year. Every valve should be done, exercised every year.
And then
I mean, this is a never-ending process.
well, when we get done, or Tetra Tech gets done with those proposals on both the stormwater side and the sanitary, more importantly, the sanitary side, if you don't think that's gonna lead to work, you're crazy.
Well-
You got sewers that nobody's looked at for 40
And,
years.
well, to go back on this is, you know,
That work will all be contracted work. That's
Well, I
not work
understand
we're-
that,
yeah.
but when you get done, I'm thinking that a lot of that work, we would be able to do ourselves.
I don't have any space to put staff anywhere else.
Well, that's another issue.
I mean,
Say it again, you what?
we have a GIS position that we have posted right now. Hey, please.
A GIS.
We have a
position.
GIS position posted right now. I have no place to put them, maybe at our spare office over in the other building. You know, we hire any more, you know, office staff, we're gonna have to use
We're
more
already
room.
out of room.
So, I mean, utility staff, yeah, but these guys, we don't even have a place to eat lunch. You know how sad that is?
Well, again, it depends on what happens on the admin building, but that admin building will free up this building. Right here would be a room that is no longer needed to be for this place.
This will be
Yes.
controlled air conditioned storage.
Yep, climate controlled storage. That's what this room would
Brass
be.
fittings to the ceiling
Yep,
from the walls.
Say it again.
Brass fittings from wall to wall.
yep.
Brass fittings.
Well, I thought that's where the utility building.
It's not climate controlled. That's what this room's for.
That's what this is for.
So, I mean, we've got these future plans,
That's
we've got
like
these
12 and
ideas.
16-inch 90s and
Like,
45s and
It keeps it out of the elements, but it's not
Valves
climate
and-
controlled.
So, again, I go back to today and yesterday, I think we're effective, at least in my mind, in us prioritizing what you guys see, but we keep going back to everything's a one, and we heard that last year. You know, the list has gotten smaller, we're getting things done.
has it?
I don't know, I'm just saying that as an optimist. We're adding new things, but, you know, we've got FY21 ponds that we're trying to get done from 3 years ago. We've got, you know, it's,
But again, most of that is subcontracted.
Yeah.
That's.
but
stuff
we
that-
have, he has to coordinate with the contractors in Tetra Tech. She has to follow up on the SRF paperwork and make sure that we get that submitted this time. He's got to do all of the locates for every pond bank to make sure that we don't have any utilities.
Contract manager, you don't want a contract?
We do.
We do.
So it's
Oh, okay.
a lot. That's all I'm saying. That's my point in all of this, is it's a lot.
You have one contract manager managing 3 different sections of all encompassing contracts. So, right, you've got, really Nathan came in to kind of alleviate and give some help there,
Yeah.
but, so we've got two, but one person, since I've gotten here, I brought Nathan on a couple of months ago, had utilities, public works, admin, and any other contract they went across the board, whether it be service, maintenance, or a one-time purchase, you know what I mean? There's a lot to be handled there.
Big job.
And that was just doing the administrative side of it. That's not the actual administering of said and following up and project managing of those contracts.
Just does I shouldn't say just, but he handles the paperwork side of it. So
Oh.
the bids, the bid openings, the renewals, the insurance, everything that needs to be done.
Well, and we've been recruiting for those two positions for how long? Months.
Over.
Over
For
a
what,
year.
for what position?
Utility operator positions,
Utility
field operator positions.
What
And
is, we're not getting any, nibbles, bites?
I mean, there's.
we hired one this
there's
week.
a few applications that,
Are unqualified.
So what are we hearing? What are they telling us?
Benefits is really what it all comes back to.
Yeah.
You know, we
Is
had
what?
benefits, the benefits of it here,
So we're not competitive.
not on the benefit side. On the
Oh.
salary side,
Yeah.
we're good.
It's the benefits because we pay for the employee portion of everything. It's more like if they have to add family on or kids or anything, that's where it gets not affordable.
We've
What
lost
do others
three.
do? Pay 50?
So there's a solution here, which is if we are not getting the traffic coming in of people just finding our jobs and applying, then maybe we need to look at actually setting aside some budget to hire a firm to go out and find, and a firm will, like my firm does hourly, they do professional, they do all this. There are companies out there that can go out and find what we're looking for. You have to pay a fee for it, but for hourly it's marginal, and go out and find exactly what we're looking for. I would much rather invest in that
You mean a
than
headhunter?
for us to have vacancies and not hire the skill set that we actually need. That's something we need to think about.
Basically a headhunter?
Yeah, a headhunter or just a specialty agency.
I can see that for the more
Higher.
higher level.
We don't
No,
have-
companies do it for hourly all day long because hourly is the types of roles that we're looking for is just as challenging to fill as the roles that we would consider, are, like the Bills, the Daniels, or the supervisors. They're just as challenging, and you have high turnover. So if you're not vetting them out, then you're basically just, it's a revolving door. So there's a strategy and there's a plan that we should be talking about in order to make sure that we are fully staffed with the skill set that we need. And I don't think you can do it. I don't think your post and pray isn't the best solution for that.
Your problem when you get those people, you come that route, all of a sudden you upset the apple cart with everybody else because now you have a disparity in either wages or benefits.
No, but you don't have to though, Ed. You don't have to hire people in with at a higher rate necessarily. I mean, it's something we should be looking at. But my point is, if you've got specialists that are out there looking for actually targeting utilities companies, other locations, you can find even locally. You can find this talent, and you don't have to necessarily pay them more, but you're vetting them out. And maybe we need to look at contracts, bringing people on to sign a year contract or 2-year contract. Maybe there's some incentives there, but there's some very creative ways that we can go about this if we feel like it's a problem.
Phil, you want to chime in? You want to chime in on anything? I know I stopped you a couple times from talking.
No, I'm good. I think you covered it.
Can't we just, have we looked at increasing benefits?
We're working on that.
That was one of my priorities.
It's gonna cost though, that's the.
Sure it is, but it's also very costly when you have vacant positions and people leave because they can't handle the workload and.
Burn out.
Your top 5 in the organization are all there.
You just came back for 3 months.
Hey, that wasn't a
I got
vacation.
you.
So everybody thinks that was a vacation.
All right, well,
Where was the vacation?
I didn't mean to dovetail this, but, I guess we're bringing it back. Lorna, did you have anything else?
Well, I think these are important conversations. It's good that you have a little bit of time to talk about this because I know you don't always have time, so it's good to talk about it.
Well, we think of ourselves as a premier community, and rightly so. Are our wages and benefits premier?
Our wages have caught up thanks to you all in the last year. The benefits have yet to catch
Because
up.
we ought to be in the top
They're
30.
making strides, but they're not there yet.
We
I mean,
just,
some of the benefits are good, like I've never, before I started here, I never worked anywhere where I had as much vacation and paid holidays. You know, in the private sector, you might get 5 paid holidays and you're lucky if you get a week's paid vacation.
Right.
you
And
know,
we cover
but-
100% of your premium. It's not the greatest
Right.
insurance, but you don't pay for it.
Right, right, and the
That's-
personal
but that's
insurance.
common
The
in public
biggest
sector.
thing that I've seen, I probably 3 people we've lost because they couldn't afford to put their family
On
on
insurance.
the
Yeah,
insurance.
remember when I showed you guys
You know.
that, it's like 40% of their check or
Yeah.
20% of
So
their
they
check plus
cover-
the insurance.
So you guys are covered as individuals, but no family?
Correct.
Employee only.
So that's okay for the young kids, but when
It
they have a
is.
family.
Right.
Yeah.
And significantly higher.
Well, you just,
Yeah.
you just wiped out about 50% of the labor
Well,
force by
yeah,
that.
and the family guys are the stable ones that you want to keep.
Right.
Yeah,
Plus
yeah.
daycare expenses, oh my God.
Okay, well, I just didn't know where we were in the continuum
Do you guys have a
of per
daycare?
year.
For the
So-
market analysis. you know,
So what's the dollar value for adding, let's say, families at 50%?
I had figured that, I did all that math, so
We
I.
talking
I
about
think
$100,000?
well, we're actually going through the renewals right now. We changed brokers to try to help, get be part of a bigger conglomerate group. We switched to Brown and Brown. So that was one step, and so we're actually waiting on the numbers. We have a meeting this afternoon, right?
Yeah.
To try to see what that is. Once we actually get the true renewal numbers, then
I'll
we
be able
can
to
start to
tell you.
look at what 50%, what 25%.
So at least we're looking at it.
I
That's
have,
good.
I have the
Yeah.
foundation out there, I just need to plug in the new numbers once I get
Because
them.
with 50, when I was working, we paid the employee, we paid the employee, and then we paid 50% for families. I don't know, has that gone up now to 75%?
No, it's about the same. And most government entities, it's up to 50%. They'll do 25, it's staggered,
And-
depends
and-
on where you go.
No, a family plan is dollar value what, 10,000? 12,000?
I have no-
Moving target.
Yeah,
I want, I want to say, I'm trying to think, 16.
My whole
With our
career.
current
I
plan,
don't think
it's about, it would be like $1,200 per employee that would pick it per month.
100%
Per
for
month.
you and your wife?
so. Whole family, wife and
Oh, I've
kids.
never had that.
I've never not had that.
well, you worked for a big company.
That's the
Right.
difference.
For GM and Ford, I mean, it was automatic.
So we're looking at that, that's one of the things, but, just there's, this document, this will be our working, Laura's gonna make some tweaks to it, we'll send the formatting, we'll tweak this, we'll send this out to you all, but we'll continue with that 30,000 foot overview, so you guys don't get the minutia that we saw here, with each board meeting, like we do with the agenda packet and the agenda management. And then, of course, as things change, or, we finish the assessment methodology, let's just say we finish that, or you decide on the admin building, that target can move, absolutely, so.
I think you just covered future expectations and next steps.
Oh, let me slide your PowerPoint.
Yeah.
When are the bids due for the building?
The end of the first, November 5th, 6th, end of the month. We extended it six or 7 days because of the hurricanes. We had requests come in.
But it's in October or November?
November.
I think it's the first of November.
1st of November.
It's gonna go to the 21st meeting, November 21st meeting. I
You guys
think.
need that building.
We've needed that building for at least the 4 years that I've been here, so.
Yeah. Good luck, I hope it works out for you, I hope you get it. Okay, so the one thing about future expectations and next steps, I just want to go back one more time to actual execution of the plan. Because I think as board members especially, you have a responsibility to keep an eye on what's going on with the plan, the core areas, when you get updates, just to check it out and make sure that things get out. I mean, we're fortunate because Chelsea is a whiz kid over there with Excel, that was impressive. And obviously, she's done a good job of keeping the list, and I saw you changing the dates as we went, because one of the things we talked about is the dates need to be more specific, especially since we've chosen to look at a one-year view. So I saw her actually plugging in months with the year on there to make it more specific. But we just have to remember that the plan's gonna keep moving, because we're looking 1 year out, but it just keeps moving. As far as everything else that we talked about, I personally feel strongly, I mean, I'm an outside consultant, so I probably shouldn't feel strongly, but I love what you've done with your mission and your vision statement. I think they're very strong, and I think they really do reflect what's going on in the community, and I'm glad that you have that. And I think we need to keep paying attention to our success statement, what we define as success. As we discussed yesterday, I mean, that really is a checklist. And every now and then, we need to check and see how are we doing. It's like, Doug was talking about performance management for staff. This is performance management for the board. This is for all of us. This is what we agreed we have to do to be successful. So I just want to put a plug in for that. Your success standards that you defined that have held up through this meeting somehow. They still work. So I'm proud of you for that. I think that's really good. And your core,
and I will say too, those of us that have not only been on the board for a while, but have lived in the community for a long time, we are in the best position that this district has ever been in. I mean, the last, I don't know, number of years, we're moving in the right direction. We're getting stuff done. There's always challenges, but I think, I'm not going to speak for the board, but I think we're probably in one of the best positions as far as getting stuff done, being prepared, having staff, board support, opinion within the community for the most part. I think is about as positive as it's ever been. I don't know if everyone else would agree or not, but that's my opinion.
Don't ask Bob.
Yeah, don't ask Bob.
Please visit Pelican.
One thing that we did not do that Carol suggested that I'm not really sure what you want to do with is just relate all this back to your 3 goals. And where your 3 goals, that your must-dos for the year, did we cover everything that's in your 3 goals? Because I think, they're interested in big picture view, and I think that's what you're gonna have to report back is your 3 goals, how that's coming in, how all of these tasks fit into that.
Well, I think it was reassuring to hear that you guys are pretty confident with everything that we've had on this list. That means, staff is doing their job, that we're relaying information, that you're up to speed, and that obviously that you can call at any time if you have any questions or need anything. But these three, goals are huge in the next year. For each of these 3 folks here, it is, to me, it is their top priority to get done. In whatever form or fashion that may be. So.
I don't know where this comment will logically fall in the graphs. But I think that we have a priority to streamline our bid process.
Yes.
However that is
Yes.
the correct way to say it. And to me, that's a very high and very important one. And I want to make sure that it has fit in here somewhere.
It has.
We've heard it for a number of times in meetings, and we have a number of examples where we're falling short of that. And I think for me personally, that'll be a really big push forward if we can standardize how we're doing things.
Yep. Understood. We're working towards that. So, and feedback like what Doug said yesterday. I have to take a step back sometimes. We talked about, not that Tony's looking out what's best for the district, but he's also putting up a lot of red tape, and I need to look at operations as what is a business decision and what is a legal decision.
What risk can you assume in between?
Yes, and so.
And what risks she can assume in between.
So I think by evaluating it in that sense, that will help streamline things, and ultimately it'll come down to you all and the policy that you choose to set. And we're putting together that type of package, and we're going to try to bring it to you all in the coming month or so.
And I'm okay with that. I support that.
And there's nothing wrong with, on occasion, bringing in an outside set of eyes, like we've done for this meeting, with a consultant that can look at things through a different lens, offer opportunities to be more efficient. So there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, sometimes we get heads down and we're trying to drive efficiency, but we're preconditioned in the roles that we have. So, maybe one thing we look at moving forward is periodically bringing someone in that has government contracting experience, that can look at that process, someone that can look at overall, just improvements in the type of environment that we work in. Just an idea, thought there.
Without having total knowledge of the processes, it disturbed me greatly when known suppliers won't bid on our projects. That bothers me.
And I could say the same to that, because why aren't they bidding it? And is it because of insurance? Is it because of, I don't know.
As long as we understand what they are. And if it's $1 million project, that's one thing. Wrap ourselves in safety. Minor projects,
I'll tell you what, that's a problem. I mean, in Tallahassee, you know where I am now, you can't get anybody to do anything. I mean, it's like, you have to wait a year just to like have your house painted or anything. It's like, I don't know what's going on in the world, it's crazy. But anyway, that's a different subject.
I'm with you all the way. My reference point is when you have these 3 people have bid before, they're willing to go do it.
Yeah.
But by the time we put the obstacles in the way, 2 of them won't do it.
I know.
That's the
I
thing.
know.
It's not that they don't want to do the work.
But you know,
We
you
have
have to
created the
cover
environment.
yourself legally and professionally and all that. My background's government, like bang your head against the wall. Okay, one more thing that I want to do, just because I think these 3 overarching goals are so important. I have a quiz for you. And the quiz is for you to take your pen right now and a piece of paper and see if you can write what the 3 goals are. You don't have to write the whole thing, it's just what's the subject of them. Let's see if you can do it. What's the subject of those 3 overarching goals that Chelsea's responsible for this year? What was it? What were they? It's so important. Let's see if you remember. Just write it.
I got the information.
That's what I want.
I do too, but I,
Good.
Now you gotta write the 17 steps underneath all of them.
there's way more than 17.
And the subtasks.
And then the 17.
And the
and
deadlines.
17.
I only know 2.
Now you gotta write them backwards and big Latin and.
Big pay Adelaide.
I haven't done the first one.
That's why I wanted to do this, because it's like we keep talking about the 3 goals, but we need to know what those are. We have to keep reminding ourselves.
Well, there's 3 of us, and we each
That's
have a
true.
goal, so that should help. Well, I mean,
I don't
I have many
Mine's not gonna
goals.
hit the deck this year.
Mine is.
I don't,
Might get site work done, that'd be about it.
Do you know
Sorry,
what- do you know
I'm
what
not
your
being
area goal
negative.
is?
I know what
I'll
mine
be
is, for
Do you know
sure.
what Laura's is?
No,
I know everybody's goals.
no, she's above me. I don't need to know her goals. I need to know my goals.
But it affects you.
Chelsea, you want to tell them what they are?
What is it?
What's
number
that?
one? What's number 1?
What are they?
Admin building.
Yeah.
And the
2
mark
is assessment methodology.
I
Can't remember. 3, I thought.
What,
ponds,
look,
but
look at our staff. Who, you got,
Wasn't
who,
ponds.
what is hers? Hers is,
Assessment methodology.
and what's his?
We talking about.
What's his goal? Cause my goals, my
Good,
3
come to
goals
work
are
once in a while.
dedicated for each silo.
Get them to come to work once in a while.
Yeah, I know.
admin building.
Meter project.
And parks. And parks is. part of
Meter
that.
project.
Meter project, yeah.
And the
Well,
third
come
one
on,
is-
I don't figured you would have had that one for sure.
I was thinking ponds is,
No, it's Bill's.
yeah, meter, yeah.
Think about our staff.
So as Chelsea said yesterday, which was interesting, and I'll just repeat, all the stuff that's being worked on, if it doesn't fall under those 3 goals, we have to question why we're doing it.
No more ponds. No more aerators.
Don't be a
That's the problem,
tease.
there's,
No
we've
more
got more
roads.
things
Well,
to do.
like-
Yeah, I mean, I still look at this a little differently. I know that we talk about these 3 goals, but
Critical ones.
our expectation of staff is for them to deliver and execute on the district priorities. And the district priorities are more than these 3.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the year, if we go through Bill, Daniel, Laura, and Chelsea and say, what do we get done? If they have knocked out the majority of these priorities, and we went through at least the top 3 in each area, we classified the top 3.
2.
If they can knock those out, the majority of those, we've had a successful year. We might hit an issue with the meter project, might get delayed, or one of the top 3 that we've identified, there may be some delays there, but as long as we're executing on the district priorities, I think we're successful.
I agree, and that was one of the things I heard in my individual interviews, is that we need to get granular with priorities, because we really don't understand what our priorities are. So I hope that's helped all of you and your staff as well to understand what those are. But one of the things I would really suggest for y'all, and I don't know if you do this on an individual basis, but it's a good idea, for everything is to keep a running list of successes for the year, of the things that you are accomplishing, so that you can be transparent with all the things that you're accomplishing, because they're sitting here going, well, what have we done? I heard that in interviews, what have we accomplished, what have we done?
Chelsea and I every year, right before her review, she's like, what did I do this year? We work on it together, and then before mine, what did I do this year?
Yeah. Well,
Look at our calendars.
Yeah, that's what I do. I go back and look at my calendar. What meetings did I have? Oh, yeah, that's right.
One thing we didn't talk about that could very well come as a result of at least number 2 on the assessment methodology, is we got to redo our budget format such
Oh, that's all
that
part of it.
so that
Yeah.
it pairs up
Yep.
with the assessment
You see
methodology.
the.
Because that is a
three.
mess right now.
Yeah, no, that's all part of it.
You see those 3 goals, but there's 27 things underneath each of those.
That's,
But a lot of
that's a
them are not
package
ours,
deal.
22 under yours.
Number one has to do with one thing and one thing only. It's how much it costs. It's that simple. And we have no control over that whatsoever, unless we go back and we start hacking the project.
Well, I
To
truly
get it in
don't
budget.
see that as just the cost. From my point of view, it's like, you have heard that there is a tremendous demand to do something about this office space. If we can't do the admin building, we're gonna have to come up with.
You ain't
plan
been out in
B.
the streets here in this community, ma'am. You go around the community, they don't think we need this building.
I imagine they don't.
They
How would
don't, they
how-
don't.
And whose fault is that?
Well, we're not selling it to them, that's the problem.
Exactly.
But the issue is that how do you sell when they don't come to the meetings? We were supposed to be doing this through our president's council and letting them do the talking. They don't do it.
But this is your challenge,
Do what?
to make people aware of why we need this and to be
Well,
transparent.
there's no doubt.
Well,
Mike.
there,
Yes, we-
sometimes we have to do things that are maybe, there's some decisions that we have to make because we have line of sight and we know what's in the best interest of the district. And there might be some backlash. Now, funding, I understand what you're saying. I mean, people don't want to spend a lot of money when it comes to these things. But in the grand scheme of things, we're managing assessments. We're not managing individual line items from a resident perspective.
They trusted you. They elected you because they trust you to make those decisions, so. Anyway, so that's my summary.
Anybody have anything else?
I appreciate all the work, and I know this has been,
Thank you.
I know it's been difficult, but y'all have done great. Thank you for hanging in and completing this with us, because I think it was really important that we establish priorities, and then we had some of the discussions that we had, and I thank you for doing it.
Me too.
I definitely think that the fact that we've identified these deals now, that we put a full court press on hiring these people. I agree with what Doug said. We need to hire 3. Get these people in here, even if we have to train them. We've got to get them. If we have to go to a headhunter, we go to a headhunter. But he can use people that a warm body to assist on the meter deal, or on the, what do you call it, exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you don't have to have a rocket scientist to do that. It can be a lower level person, but we got to have a body.
We pair them up with an experienced operator.
Absolutely, right.
You know, so, you know.
And the issue is that we talk about things that come up by surprise. These aren't surprises. This is a freaking utility. It happens all the time. All we're trying to do is to manage them and second guess where they might be happening. And second guessing includes maintenance. And that's one thing we fail at. We absolutely have failed for years at maintenance. We've started to turn it around, but you don't turn it around overnight.
Especially
This takes time.
especially understaffed.
I'm scared to death of that sanitary sewer report. Scared to death of what's gonna happen when you put those cameras down those pipes.
Well,
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
That's where all of our sewers are located, in the roads.
Yeah.
It costs a fortune
All
to go
right.
in there and fix it.
Anybody have anything else?
Thank you, thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank goodness for SIP
Have a
land.
safe trip back.
Thank you. I
What?
appreciate
SIP
that.
land.
Zip line.